Whitby, how much is fish and chips?
3 of us, fish, chips, peas, I think one of us carry sauce, 3 cans of pop, just short of 70 quid.
£70? That's 23 quid a head, man. Even my maths does that. Very quickly, a voice note. Campbell in Scotland, go.
Up here in Banff in the northeast of Scotland, we can get a fillet and a half of haddock with a regular chips for £8 and 10 pence, and it's by far and away one of the best chippies I've ever had.
Kenneth in Surrey, fish and chips, go.
Fish and chips in Ascot, about half a mile from where you used to live, will cost you £12 and 60 pence. Great show. Keep up the good work.
That's why I moved, because you were living there. When was the last time you had fish and chips?
Couple of weeks ago.
How much? Where'd you get it from?
I think it was about 40 quid. It was in the Ivy.
Honestly, you really are. For any of you who think he's a man of the people, I nearly said you're a...
Give me a real...
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Very, very, very good morning to you. It's Tuesday, September the 2nd, which means one thing and one thing only. Morning Glory is on, and we stand to salute. No, we don't. It's Keir Starmer's 63rd birthday, if you give a damn. Do you give a damn? Let me play you. This is the man that is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. This is how unexciting he is.
5,
morning.
4, 3, 2, 1... Yay!
Brace yourself, Lady Starmer. Now, can you imagine? Listen, Morning Glory is on as ever. If you want to be part of the debate between now and 10 o'clock, 3 ways to contact the show. The gang are all prepared. 0344 499 1000. Telephone number is that. Damien taking your calls. You can send us a voice note. We want them nice and early. 0344 499 1000 on, I think, the WhatsApp thingamajig. You can call us to text the show throughout the next 4 hours. 87222. Start your message with the word talk. So much in the news today. Where do we start? Labour came back yesterday after the recess and immediately attacked the problems with immigration, and then had to admit that deal that they made with the French, where it was 1 in, 1 out, so far in the last 5 weeks, it's 3,567 in and bugger all else. So that's not going on at all. Farage, great comment this morning in the Express. I love this. He says to Starmer, basically, I'll get rid of you. If you don't start respecting me, right? You haven't invited me to the banquet with Trump, and he's my mate. You haven't listened to who I want to put in the House of Lords, right? I did it to Cameron, I did it to May, and listen, birthday boy, if you don't shut your face and start showing me some respect, I'll do it to you. A few shocking stories in the newspapers today. An asylum seeker can't go home from Sri Lanka because she's too scared to fly. I think, you know, whatever you're doing this morning, if you're waking up and you're thinking, oh, God, I've got a long day today, it's raining, I'm not going to see my wife or kids for a few days, don't be so selfish. Just go and earn your taxes and stop bitching, OK? Sri Lankan scared of flying. It's 6:05. They call it the paper review. Tuesdays are our favourite day, without any shadow of a doubt, because in his brothel creepers, which for you and me are suede boots, the legend that is Peter Blexley. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kyle.
Good morning, Mr. Blexley. Are you well?
I'm very well refreshed. Had a couple of days up in Norfolk.
We were talking about this. Brilliant. You went to where I went in the summer to Hunstanton and Norfolk, and you were having afternoon tea at Sandringham.
Yes, that was rather pleasant yesterday. It was a gift for my wife for her birthday from our mates who we were staying with. And, yeah, Hunstanton Beach on Sunday. and
Going back
Sandringham
in time.
yesterday.
Going back.
Wonderful. Like Britain 50 years ago.
I'm going to tell you a great story about afternoon tea that we'll have. Christian will clip this up. This is true. My dad, who worked for the Queen Mother for 41 years, now dead, so I can tell this story, told the best story of all when the then Labour Minister for the Weather, this was in the 70s, and once a week a minister would sit and have afternoon tea with the Queen, be it in Sandringham or London, and it would be somebody that was relevant to what was going on. So at the moment it might be the Migration Minister. Anyway, it were John Smith, not that John Smith, a Northern MP, right, and he was the Minister for Weather in Labour government, and the weather had been appalling. This is genuinely a true story. So he was summoned to Downing Street for afternoon tea, and there he was with it, and she said, it's brilliant, it's absolutely brilliant. He got his best suit on and best shirt and ready, and eventually halfway through she said, Mr. Smith, said the Queen, would you like another cup of tea? And he went, aye, Your Majesty, that'd be grand. She went, yes, I noticed your saucer was empty. He literally emptied the cup of tea into the saucer and was sucking it off the saucer. That is an absolutely straight-on story.
In the company of Her Majesty.
In the company of the late, great Queen. I wonder what she'd make on Starmer's 6th. Actually, by the way, do you want to send Keir Starmer birthday wishes?
Not particularly.
No.
Must I?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Actually, let's let's start with Keir Starmer before we talk about the news. He came back yesterday reinvigorated, despite the fact that politically the ground has shifted and Farage and everybody else have been talking about the things that matter for the last few weeks. Been on holiday, and he decided that it's new phase number 2, and this is what he put out on social media. This will inspire you of a morning. Have a listen, have a watch.
Summer's definitely over, and this morning we've got all the number 10 staff together and talked through what phase 2 of the government is going to look like and feel like. So we go into phase 2, 1st of September 2025, in good spirits, confident and with conviction about what we're doing. It needs a more powerful number 10, so we've added to the team with some really important new members. I made a number of other changes, but this is about focus on delivery now, marching forward to the next phase of government.
He doesn't believe what he's saying.
No, he doesn't.
Listen to the tone.
It's vacuous rubbish. But here's the best bit. Yesterday, Darren Jones was the Chief Secretary to the Treasury. He's now, well, he's basically his right-hand man now, Darren Jones. This is the man who went, we haven't got that clip, have we? The man who went on Question Time and said, genuinely, every single person that arrives in a boat is a woman and a baby. And they went, sorry, is there something wrong with you, you idiot?
Yep.
So he's a liar, so he probably fits in well. Not that they like that. Oh, we've got the clip. This is the new man in number 10. This is how incompetently... I mean, it was made the Express today because I dared to call him a liar. He is a liar. Have a watch.
And when you see that the majority of the people in these boats are children, babies and women who have been... No, they're not. No, they're not. No, you have got to take... No, look, I get this is...
North of 90% of them are adult men.
Let me be... No.
Hang on, you're saying that's not true?
No, look, this is why it's controversial.
It's not true. Is it true or
I'm
not?
saying it's not true.
Let me get this clear. It wasn't true. You're a liar. You'll fit in brilliantly at number 10.
In this new role, which Starmer created,
yes, he did,
Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister. Never existed before this role.
No.
Darren Jones, incompetent, clearly.
Yes.
Tells untruths.
Yes,
clearly. Newly promoted into this role, and Starmer has the temerity to tell us that things are going to get better.
Calm, it's only 6:10, calm, because we'll explode by 7 o'clock. We did this on drive time. Honestly, he's going to self-combust. What is it called, that?
Self-combust.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's start. I mean, it is true. Front of the Mail this morning, in all its glory. You'll remember when the French came to play, Macron came over, and they had a meeting, and they've gone to one in and one out. Yes. Well, so far, in the last 5 weeks, it's not gone well. No wonder they need a reset. We've got 3,567 in and none out. Yvette Cooper, or Mrs. Balls, as she said, stood up and was full of the joys of spring. But nothing changes, PB, nothing.
If I give you a pen...
let's do it. Thank you. Yeah,
pen in.
Yes.
Yeah, and you give me a pen.
No, I'm keeping it. I want 3,005. Bugger off.
Oh, I see. So I'll give you another 3,566 pence.
It's true.
See, one in, one out. It's just utter drivel.
It is.
Utter nonsense. And you know what? on Hunstanton Beach on Sunday afternoon because I'm a keen observer of everything.
We've heard, yes.
Which doesn't mean I'm discourteous.
Tom's his nickname.
I'm not discourteous to my friends and all of that.
No.
But, you know, from my old undercover days, I can hold your attention but also be very aware of what's going on.
Peripheral vision,
You
PB.
got it, exactly, right? There was a bunch of black and brown young men playing volleyball on the beach.
Yes.
Right? They stood out, not only because of their skin colour, but they were only people playing volleyball on this bit pebbly, bit sandy kind of, but nonetheless lovely beach. So I kind of kept my ears open and my eyes open and had a little look, right? There was one man there who was an elder brown-skinned man who seemed to be overseeing things, shall we say. And there was some catering going on by two women in Muslim headdresses, right? And a white elderly lady, right?
Yes.
At the end of the eating, they were packing the stuff away. It was all that kind of stuff that you get in a cash and carry, you know, your very big tubs of mayonnaise and ketchup and this, that and the other.
Nerded
right?
and peacock. Yes.
Right? That sort of kind of stuff. So I kind of asked about and did a little bit and was able to confirm that this group of young men were, in fact, recent arrivals into the UK.
Yes.
And they were having a day out.
Yes.
I couldn't establish from what establishment they'd come, although I did try my best. And there they were, Hunstanton Beach, and at one point, one young man peeled off, went to the edge of the water and stared out across the wash for a very long time, clearly deep in thought. I was going to approach him and put a bit of flesh on the bones of this story of these migrant people playing volleyball on the beach in Hunstanton, but unfortunately he moved off and the group moved away, and I thought I've asked enough questions, spoken to enough people, and perhaps
the gentleman there, was he coaching them volleyball skills? Because I suspect that's a really important part of coming to the United Kingdom. Is that why he was here? And do you think... I mean, I told a similar story the other day. They know. I was on Sandbanks Beach the other day, and you could see there were migrant men and families were leaving. That is a fact. For all the people that will tune in, not to this station, but they'll attack you, they'll attack me, they'll attack Mike, they'll go, you can't say that. I can say that because families in this country go back to Epping every single day. That was women and parents concerned about the safety of their kids. There is nothing fundamentally wrong with saying it. And for all those do-gooders who go, oh, I heard somebody yesterday, persecution, do one. I would, this sounds a terrible thing to say, Pete. I would love some of these do-gooders who seem to put migrants' wishes and desires ahead of the indigenous population. I would love them to have a teenage daughter. I would love them to be in an area where migrants were, who we don't know anything about. They're everywhere. I would love these people to get out of their bubble and understand how the majority of people, I firmly believe in this country, are really concerned. They're not far right, they don't want trouble, but they're looking out for what they know is their family's safety and security. What is wrong with that?
I get that, and I don't suggest for a moment that this group on Hunstanton Beach did anything to cause anybody any alarm or distress on Sunday, but it was very interesting watching them and noticing that they were being transported and were now within the bosom of people whose faith is Islam. Right? Because they were the two predominant ladies that were doing the catering and that kind of stuff. And it would absolutely make sense, wouldn't it? If you come to this country under these circumstances and you're housed in a hotel or wheresoever it may be, and you are essentially homeless, rudderless, but you're here, you're going to be drawn towards someone who will look after you, won't you?
Of course.
And if it is the faith of Islam, and if they are hoovering up many of these young men into that faith, if they're not already followers of that faith, then of course that will only help the numbers of Muslims in the UK grow.
Absolutely.
And as we know, in some regards, there is unfortunately a huge lack of integration.
It's really interesting when we have this discussion because, I mean, I've said it before, I'm really proud that Talk's able to be as candid and as open. There are many people who find what's talked about on this station as wrong, but I would point out respectfully something I said this morning in the makeup room. I don't give a toss if you have the different opinion to me and we'd spend our lives disagreeing. That's what a democracy is about. What we have is a generation, I'm afraid, and a feeling in this country on the left, which is, I'm right, you should be cancelled, destroyed. Everything about you and your past should be ground into the earth, and we're right. There has to be middle ground. It's 6:15. What do you make of that story? 0344 499 1000. Text to 87222. My favourite story of the morning, front page of the Express. I was that excited. I was having my morning constitution. I phoned Christian. This is great. Nigel Farage accused Sir Keir Starmer of lying repeatedly yesterday over migration and warned the PM, I love this, I'll get rid of you. What I love about this is he basically said, I haven't been invited to the banquet, said Nigel. I've known Trump for longer than you've been in politics, you birthday boy, whatever. He said, as a leader of a party, I'm allowed to suggest peers for the House of Lords. You haven't even bothered to respond to my letter. That's how disrespecting you are. In the House of Commons, you laugh at me and you laugh at my 4 MPs. And then he said, they wouldn't invite me. Hey, we're only 15 points ahead in the polls. I've known Trump personally as a friend for over 15 years. The attitude of this government stinks. They're insulting. They talk down to me. They don't invite me to anything. I wrote to him about House of Lords. I haven't even had a reply. Let me tell you, Sir Keir Starmer, birthday boy, said Nigel Farage, I got rid of David Cameron. I got rid of Theresa May. And if you carry on being rude, I'll get rid of you. I mean, that's what I want in my politics.
Did you see the footage of Starmer walking to his prime ministerial car yesterday? It was a short
Did he fall over?
He's walking down Downing Street. He looked forlorn. He looked like he had the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Well, he has. He's the Prime Minister and he's cocked up. Hasn't done anything.
He looked forlorn, almost, I would suggest, to the point of being broken by the magnitude of the task. I think he's discovered in the last 14 months or so that he's not up to it, the task is too daunting, and perhaps he regrets ever walking into Downing Street.
Was his wife anywhere to be seen?
No.
6:15. 0344 499 1000. Sharon Miller, good morning, Jez and Pete. How much more does Starmer want to bloody well change his government? He's only been in Downing Street 12 months. She's in Staffordshire. Talk. I don't know why I say that. Why would it be anything else? Starmer at 63 looks the same as he was when he was a year old, says Bill in Cheshire, the son of a toolmaker. James on migrant, a voice note. Good morning.
Good morning, Jezza. Good morning, Peter. My blood is boiling. Why is this country a dumping ground for everyone? I'm sick to death of it. Why can't just taxpayers be looked after first? That's not too much to ask, is it? Anyway, thank you, Jeremy.
Yes, it is too much to ask. Don't be so ridiculous, James. What are you doing? You're advocating a government that sticks up for its own people to the detriment of poor migrants who come from persecuted tents in France. You ridiculous human being. What is wrong with James? Get it right. We're supposed to give all that we've got to everybody else and screw our own people. You're obviously completely and utterly wrong, man.
Using the word persecution has made me think about something that I've been mulling over for some time.
This is what happens when you get a little bit older. He spends a lot of time thinking now.
With regards to this migrant issue,
yes.
Okay, we hear a lot of the time those who really want open borders and want to turn Croydon into Kabul, and they're doing a very good job of it at the moment, I might add, they say that these people are coming from war-torn countries.
Yep.
Now, call me and millions of Brits old-fashioned, right? But we, generations past, of which we sacrificed many family members...
We did.
...actually picked a side when it came to war. You know what I mean? They picked a side, they chose death before dishonour, and they went out to serve this nation and, in turn, protect the free world. If you're in a war-torn country, wouldn't you pick a side and then pick up a weapon and fight for it?
You would do that, but also if you didn't want to pick a side and you were thinking of leaving, and I'll say this until the cows come home, I'd bring my wife and kids with me. I wouldn't leave them to be bombed to death whilst I escaped to the... Oh, no, sorry, not the first country without bombs. No, the 83rd country, which is Great Britain, because I could then commit crime, disappear into the system and send money back home.
But if you weren't picking a side, you might be construed as a conscientious objector, mightn't you?
Yes.
Unfortunately, we didn't have millions and millions of them during the 2 world wars. So I say once again, surely if you're in a country riven by war, you pick a side, join in and try and win it. And if you die fighting for that cause, then will those actions not have been somewhat heroic rather than legging it?
Absolutely. It's 6:20. I have a story for you, which I'm going to do after the break, which actually, in the end, just about sums up why this station exists, why most of us want to headbutt the wall, and why Mike at this moment is still in a bar in New York because he had to have 5 days away because it's driving him nuts. I'm going to tell you about how a Sri Lankan mother has run a reprieve, and you try saying that, in her battle to stay here after... I can't do this. Oh, Christ. She can't go home to Sri Lanka. She's got to stay. Do you know why, PB?
I do. I've read it.
Because she's too depressed to fly. I can't. I'm not doing it. I'm going to have a cup of tea. Back in 3.
About some tinkering around family applications from asylum seekers. People actually are probably running out of patience to hear about any more asylum seekers, never mind their families. I think people are just sick of the whole concept of it, not because we are not, as a nation, pretty generous and wanting to help the world's most oppressed, but because this system has been so systematically abused and exploited that it's lost all credibility.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Good morning, 6:23 with Morning Glory. JK in for MG. He's in New York. Don't worry, my darlings, he'll be back on Thursday. Peter Blexley is here on Keir Starmer's 63rd birthday. I'd love to hear your messages of support for Sir Keir Starmer on voice note, of course, 0344 499 1000, or you could text your birthday wishes to the most incompetent Prime Minister in my lifetime, 87222. Start your message with the word talk. Liam, good morning.
Morning, Jezza. Liam from Kent. Out in the van since 3 o'clock this morning. Lovely jubbly. Anyway, Keir Starmer's birthday. I got an idea for a birthday present for him. Oh, yeah, Rwanda's nice this time of year. Anyway, have a great show. Take it easy.
See, up since 3, Pete, in the van, working. People like that, hard working, the backbone of Great Britain, thinking, why am I wiping the backside of people who don't deserve jack?
Absolutely, and so the disquiet goes, but so the disquiet spreads.
It's true.
Because this story, this whole migration issue is, and of course, even the left-leaning lunatic commentators are finally realising that this is a matter that will topple Starmer.
It's not going to go away,
and government.
You're right. It's not going to go away. Listen to this story. I told you before the break. Listen, I mean, it's extraordinarily. When I think of Great Britain, I know you and I are old school, and Mike's old school, and there's plenty about the old school that people don't like, but there's plenty that actually put this country where it is. A Sri Lankan mother. I mean, I just want to laugh at my country. Has won a reprieve in a battle to claim asylum after arguing that she can't be deported because she's too depressed to fly. The unnamed woman, of course, entered this country in 2021 after leaving the South Asian country over fear she'd be persecuted for her family's support for the Tamil Tigers. That's fair enough. Apparently she suffers from severe depression. She's not fit to fly. This could be years. A judge initially rejected her claim, saying they did not accept that her mental health made her unable to go. However, she appealed the decision, and a different judge, probably a friend of Starmer's, has now ruled the case must be reheard. The poor woman's having a hard time. Don't go to work. Don't fly home. You just stay here. Man in van at 3 o'clock. He'll pay for you. Unbelievable, man.
And that initial judge, about her story of being too depressed to fly, said that, and I quote, it lacked credibility, finding the asylum narrative to be a sheer fabrication, because her story was, I support the Tamil Tigers, so you can't send me back to Sri Lanka, I'll be persecuted. And she claimed that her husband, separated from her husband, of course, husband and wife, not together, in a different country, as you do, or don't, should I say, apparently lives in an unspecified area of a jungle.
Paul Barrett, if the Sri Lankan woman is too depressed to fly, couldn't we organise a whip around to book a taxi to take her son? We're already paying through the nose to keep her and others like her in the UK. Now, I'm going to just be really honest, Paul. I completely agree. There are people who find this sort of thing abhorrent, right? I mean, for us to even dare to suggest, I genuinely want to say this, right? There isn't a racist bone in my body. I've said it to people on air, I've said it off air. But if you really readily expect the average hard-working, taxpayer, law-abiding person to put up with this for any much longer, it's just not going to happen. Pete's right. You're right, Pete. This disquiet, this is not going to go away. This can. Yesterday, what did we have yesterday? We had Yvette Cooper. This was her, right? This was her initially. Was this on August the 8th? I'm going to give you updates. This was a promise a month ago. Have a listen.
We'll provide regular updates for the public at every stage. That's why I'm confirming today that the pilot has now started and the first migrants who arrived on the small boat are now in detention. The transfers to immigration removal centres are underway as we speak, so we won't provide operational details at this point that criminal gangs can simply use and exploit.
And the interesting thing about Yvette Cooper was that was the 8th of August, Pete, and it was only yesterday, September the 1st, when we came back, that she even bothered to speak. They went straight on the front foot. But actually, that interesting story Chris has just pointed out in the front of the Mail, 3,567. The one glaring admission from her speech yesterday, which didn't mention the 50,000 people that have come into this country. The Mail had to get hold of the Home Office last night and get that figure. That's a fact. She doesn't even mention it. They won't acknowledge it. They think you're going to stand there and you're going to fob us off by saying, we've got this under control. No, you haven't. It's absolutely not under control.
Of course it isn't. But let's remember the 40,000 that came in the year before that, the 35,000 that came in the year before that, the 40,000 that came in the year before that, and so it goes. And let's not forget, OK, this small boats issue, the dinghies, is but a tiny part of the abuse of the immigration system that is happening across this once great nation.
I agree, and more than the worst. And the worst. I sit here every day and I think to myself, are they that unintelligent? Do they not have a plan? Do they not care? Do they not have a will? Oh, God. Morning, Jez. Pete. Regarding the Sri Lankan lady too depressed to fly, let her board the HMS Bandwagon with Captain Greta Thunberg. Great show, Sean in Kidderminster. Steve's in Cambridge. You have to take your hat off to Starmer's father. He made a very good tool 63 years ago. Yeah, it's true. I can't believe he's still here. Anyway, this is true. Yvette Cooper, the whole government, I don't believe there's the will, I don't believe there's an interest. But what I do firmly believe, and I'd love to hear from you this morning on this 87222, start your message with the word talk. I think the British people are not for being taken for fools anymore. I think something's switched on. I don't know whether it's... I don't know. I think it's because we've always been the nation that does the right thing. But now people are really struggling. Don't give me, you know, all the reasons, cost of living, right? All of a sudden they're going, hold on a minute, doing everything right, and I'm at the back of the bleeding queue. It's not fair.
The moderate mainstream are the lion that has awoken.
Yeah.
And the concern about this issue and many, many others is spreading further and wider and further and wider. And so many people, length and breadth of the nation, are deeply, deeply concerned, have quite frankly had enough and can't wait to see the back of this lamentable Prime Minister and his pathetic government.
Well, this pathetic Prime Minister or pathetic government yesterday, he had a reshuffle. We saw it slightly differently at Talk. He talked up the facts. See what I did there? The Darren Jones, the ex-Secretary to the Treasury, was going to be his brand new man and everything was going to be fine. We sort of saw it as Rachel Reeves being sidelined, really, because he's brought in a new economics guru who's never studied economics at all. He's brought in a new communications chief, because the last one, probably James Lyons, went, oh, I'm doing this 11 months. How are you supposed to sell something that's rubbish? Most interesting thing yesterday, Rachel Reeves loses her number 2. He goes to work for Starmer, and she still believes that she's got an angle. We've got the most extraordinary clip. I want whatever you're doing, turn the radio up or stop and watch this. This is the lady, OK, who runs... Doesn't matter that she's a lady, somebody will have a go. This person runs the finances of this country and struggles to answer bloody questions from kids. Have a watch.
I've been hearing about you in the news that you like taxes. If you had 3 wishes, what would it be?
Oh my goodness. To answer your questions well, to make sure that all children have a good start in life, and for my own children to give me less chat back. I don't think that third one's going to come true.
If you could have another job, what would that be?
Oh, well, what I'd really like to be is Beyonce, but I don't think I'm ever going to be Beyonce. So before I became an MP, I worked in finance. I worked in banks and financial institutions. So I guess that's what I would go back to doing. But at the moment, I'm doing the job that I want more than any other job. I'm in charge of the country's finances. All right? Yeah, you happy with my answers? I get a high five. Hey, very good.
I don't think in all of my time broadcasting I've seen anybody look as palpably shocked as Peter Blexley. You all right?
Those poor kids. I mean, really, they go to school today.
What would you like in life? I'd quite like the guilt, you know, the guilt bonds to go down, the yields. I'd quite like us not to be screwed. I'd like to be Beyonce. She's got the character of a whoopee cushion that's been pushed. I mean, what are we talking about?
3 wishes, and she didn't wish for growth.
No,
and that's all she's been banging on about.
Growth, no. And this is, I know this is going to get me good. A shirt that's extraordinary. I'm sorry, I'm blinded by that shirt this morning. You know the most extraordinary thing, and I'll probably get into trouble with this. I didn't know she had kids.
No,
did you know she had children? I didn't know.
It's so be it. It's of zero interest to me. But can we talk about this reshuffle for a minute?
Yes,
okay?
Of course.
Because the Telegraph on page 1.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll get it, sir.
Reports that they think it's all been orchestrated by Tony Blair's former chief of staff, right, Jonathan Powell.
Yes.
You'll know that name, right? He acts as the security advisor within the government anyway, and they employed a new executive director of communications, didn't they?
Tim Allen.
As part of this reshuffle.
Yeah.
And he's a Blairite.
Yeah. Oh,
okay?
yeah.
So once again,
Yep.
we get the Blair significant figures exercising their influence within the government, within the Labour Party, and what are so many of the nation's current ills down to the tentacles that Blair spread back in 97 that have infiltrated the civil service,
Yep.
the National Health Service, policing, education, all that kind of woke ideology which has driven us to where we are now.
Couldn't agree more.
And nobody has ever stripped it out.
I'm really
and until
watching-
such time as that happens, this country will continue to go down the Swanee.
I completely agree, but I'm worried about your blood pressure.
Fine.
The thing about you is you make me look calm, which is, mate, I completely agree. What do you make? I haven't had any. Does nobody want to wish Starmer a happy birthday? I mean, it's disgraceful. 872222. He's 63 today. Can we just go to the break with the story that you found, which is absolutely. If you want to think of hypocrisy underlined. incompetence underlined, just complete madness. Peter Blexley is going to fill your brain with a story.
Naivety and stupidity need to be added here, right? And I bet that moribund Miliband is absolutely doing his crunch this morning as he turns to page 9 of the Times newspaper.
Yeah.
Because the headline reads, electric Range Rover is not secure enough to protect Starmer.
Electric Range Rover.
Electric! OK?
She's not electric.
The close protection teams that protect Starmer and many other significant people in this country, of course, the Royals and the such like, right? Those close protection teams, which are right up there as the best in the world, right, cannot use these electric vehicles because these vehicles need to be heavily armoured so that they're bomb-proof and gun-proof and all that kind of stuff. Well, because the electric ones run on very heavy batteries, they cannot then sustain the additional weight that the armour plating requires, right? That's one reason. Of course, they need charging, right? Very, very frequently, so they're not suitable for longer journeys. And you can't have your principal, whether it be the King or the Prime Minister, sitting around for hours with their arms crossed while the
Somewhere in
vehicle's being
Hammersmith
charged.
flyover where they're just charging the electric Range Rover in.
And so it goes. So this drive towards net zero, and while I'm on this subject,
Yes,
right,
dear.
you know, I just spent 2 days in Norfolk.
Sandringham, having tea.
Yeah. All the petrol stations that I passed, I did not see one electric vehicle charging point at those petrol stations.
Nobody wants electric vehicles.
Right. All the houses, including the new builds, we stayed in a new build that my mate and his wife had rented, right? No electric vehicle charging point.
No heat
All these
pumps.
new builds going up there, no electric vehicle charging points. So this drive towards net zero, that part of the country, as I saw it, is fundamentally just not prepared for it, so it's not going to happen.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen anywhere, but just to put Miliband in his place, on Tuesday the 2nd of September, his boss's 63rd birthday, the electric Range Rover.
Yep.
I just,
Bin it
honestly,
off.
it's been binned off. It doesn't work. Can I just say good morning to Don in Stalybridge? He says, oh dear, Jesse, you've really depressed my wife Linda today. It's her birthday, and the fact that she's sharing it with 2-tier Kia has left her utterly devastated, and she's crying.
Blot it out, Linda. Blot it out. Make out like it never happened. It's your birthday.
Linda,
and your
you're with
birthday
us.
only.
We wish you a very happy birthday. Happy birthday. You don't worry about sharing it with her. With him, doesn't matter, does it?
Happy birthday, Linda. I hope it's a lovely one.
Happy birthday, Linda, said the ex-cop. What is it, 23 minutes to 7? What's going on? Oh, my God, so much to talk about, including in the next part. Here's a thought for you, which will put you off your Weetabix. Angela Raina being gagged. We're back in 3.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Good morning. It's 20 to 7. We're live across the United Kingdom. Morning Glory is on. My name's Jeremy Carr. You are lucky people. Mike is back on Thursday. Peter Blexley is here. We have to say good morning to my children. It's 20 to 7. Mrs. Carl and the children are watching young Ollie Bully and Rissy. Do you want to say hello to them?
Good morning, kids. I hope you're having a nice time this morning.
You see, Uncle Peter isn't as scary as people believe. If you want to be on between now and 10 o'clock, 0344 499 1000. Text to 87222. Morning to Kevin Shropshire. Guys, everything that's going on is either incompetence or intentional. I believe the latter. Every time this government have a choice to make, they take the wrong one for the people they're supposed to be responsible for. Good morning to Chris in God's country, Northumberland. Good morning. They brought in Darren Jones as economic firepower in number 10. He's got about as much firepower as a malfunctioning water pistol. Brilliant. Andy Yates, this is brilliant. He's in Mansfield. Yesterday marked 55 years since I joined Nottinghamshire Police as a cadet. Wow. Of course, we're all happily retired now, but I know there will be thousands of us out there willing to strap on the kit and convoy illegal invaders to airports for deportation. Don't tell him your name, Pike. It's true.
There you go. Very true.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, in the late 70s, early 80s, we had a PC at Peckham Police Station. I'm going to name check him. I hope he doesn't mind. Bernie Canby, right?
Yep.
And he was formidable with regards to the Immigration Act. And he literally used to nick illegals, overstayers, all that kind of stuff every day. You walk in the charge room, there's Bernie with yet another prisoner, possibly immigration officers, who's going to be removed out of the country. If this country had a government and it employed people like Bernie with his expertise, with his determination, his knowledge of the law, then all those illegals that are over here would be quaking in their boots.
Couldn't agree more. It is, of course, Alan and Merseyside sums it up. It's Sir Keir Starmer's 63rd birthday. There's an absolute dearth. Well, there's none. Nobody wants to wish him a happy birthday on talk. You can send your message. Alan in Merseyside's got it right. No. Can we send 63 migrants back to France today to celebrate Starmer's birthday? Don't be ridiculous. In the last 5 weeks, we haven't sent any. We can't do 63. That would be a ridiculous suggestion, man. What is wrong with you? Hello to Sarah in Peterborough. I had a well-paid job and worked hard, paid my mortgage off, but can't bear to give the government any more taxes. So now I work part-time and earn just under the allowance. I have enough to get by and pay the bills. I'd rather that than give this government a penny. I won't fund illegal migrants. Let's talk about the Deputy Prime Minister who's been in the news this week, Angela. She was on a boat. You saw all those pictures with the tattoo and the vape. Big furore about the third place that she lives at Hove, 800 grand. She's got the place up north. She's got the Grace and Favour place in London. How many council taxes? What's her main address? Blah, blah, blah. This is extraordinary. Everybody wants to know this story. Yesterday, her department said... And she said, in fact, I can't go into details about my tax affairs because I've been gagged.
Yes, as a result of a court order,
Why?
apparently.
I smell a rat.
How astonishingly convenient that those probing questions about our financial affairs apparently cannot now be answered.
Absolutely.
Well, where's the court order?
Yeah.
What court issued it? What was it about?
What? Absolutely, mate. And
Come on.
This is them, absolutely. There's a rat here. There is no doubt there is something. And the great thing... Listen, we've all been, at times in our lives, we've had different situations, right? The best thing about certain parts of the British press is they won't let this go.
No.
If you are going to put yourself in the spotlight and you are going to pontificate and pass judgment, and as I said yesterday, her story is a great story. If you're going to do that and you're going to talk about working people and caring about everyday people, you are going to have a light shone on you. And if you think you're going to she ain't going to get away with this, there's something that is undoubtedly fishy about this, excuse the pun.
Ms. Raina, I'm sure you're listening, because any sane person would be. Oh, hang on, I just contradicted myself. Right, there's an expression... Nothing to hide, nothing to fear. Let's hear all about it, shall we?
God, I imagine I'm in an interview room. My interview with Mr. Kyle started at 6 o'clock this morning on a Tuesday. Were you quite scary in interviews?
You're not obliged to say anything, but if...
That you'd be saying to her. Also, back to Starmer. It is his 63rd birthday. Great article. Well, not really. Page 5 of the Times. Don't devalue the flag, Starmer tells activists. We have one at home. Do you know every time he opens his mouth, in fact, increasingly when they all open their mouth, I just don't believe a word.
Now, the beauty of so many people beginning to reconnect with the flag, whether it be the Union flag or whether it be the Cross of St George's flag, people reconnecting with it. I've always loved the saltire, and I've loved the dragon on a flag in Wales. All of these kind of things that I absolutely love. People are now finally beginning to wrestle ownership of that back to ourselves, because for years, if you displayed anything like that, other than in the most formal of circumstances, the lunatic left would go, racist.
My wife texted me on yesterday during the show. She said, I'm going to buy a bloody flag at a poll. This is our leader, who apparently, although his government seems to be anti the British people, because did they not go to court and get a judgment against the British people and pro-migrants? This is him now saying, I think flags are very important. This is another inspiring clip. Have a listen.
I'm the leader of the Labour Party who put the Union Jack on our Labour Party membership cards. I always sit in front of a Union Jack. I've been doing it for years, and it attracted a lot of comment when I started doing it. And in our flat, which is upstairs from here, as you know, we've got the St George's flag in our flat.
So you're encouraging people to put up more flags?
I'm very encouraging of flags. I think they're patriotic. And I think they're a great symbol of our nation. I don't think they should be devalued and belittled, and I think sometimes when they're used purely for divisive purposes, it actually devalues the flag. I don't want to see that. I'm proud of our flag. I sit in front of our flag, and I'm very, very proud to do so.
Well, then do something about the balmy councils, you total Bell's Hotel bit, and get rid of those stupid people who are telling us that we can't fly it. He's in bits here, Blexley.
The real joy of that clip, for any of you who are only listening on the radio and didn't see it, right? He sits there in front of a microphone saying, I always sit in front of a flag, and guess what? He's not in front of a flag. There isn't a flag there. What a numpty. What an absolute...
It's his birthday. Stop being so horrible.
Oh, my word.
Can you
really?
just not wish Starmer a happy birthday, says Deborah next. He's done bloody well designed. Slim. Imagine being called Slim from Burnley. I hope it's going well. Good morning, Peter and Jez. Apathy birthday is more apt for Starmer. Great show. Keep up the good work. Not many people seem to want to say happy birthday to him. I'd love for him to put a video of the cabinet giving him the bumps times 63. Now, that would go viral, says Graham Haitley in Allsworth. Morning, Jez. Starmer supports Arsenal. Arsenal football shirts display Visit Rwanda, says Sean in Kidderminster. So the whole thing is a pile of rubbish. Charles in Thailand. Oh, yeah. I have a present for Starmer, but I don't know how to wrap a kick up the arse in the post. So that's a great start to our morning. I'm going to leave you at 13 minutes to 7. I'm going to leave you to do a story that you wanted to do more than any, because this all said, should we do it now or after the break? This is about, after the break, ladies and gentlemen, apparently there are people in this country, if you're waking up, who believe that the countryside needs changing because it's a white space only, and basically there are loads of rural racists. I'm back in 3, apparently.
be during those so-called austerity years. Look, the state needs to learn how to live within its means. You can't keep coming back for more tax. And there isn't just nasty people like me saying that, not that I'm nasty, but many of your listeners will think that I am. It's the good burgers of the OBR now, the Office for Budget Responsibility. It's people like Professor Jajit Chadha, the former head of the National Institute, the most respected think tank in Britain, who gave me an interview on my When the Facts Change Substack last week.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
I love it. Good morning. It's Morning Glory on Talk, the home of free speech and common sense. 9 minutes to 7. Peter Blexley, who should run the police if we ever get to a position where we can make those decisions, is with me this fair Tuesday morning and is looking forward to, well, basically you quite like the countryside.
Well, having just been there for a couple of days, reconnected with it, rediscovered
Did
my
you have
love
green
of it.
wellies?
No, there's no need to take wellies. I've got a pair of wellies in the loft, though.
Have you?
Yeah, don't wear them very often.
You're a racist. The countryside is a white space. Mail, page 5. This is the sort of tripe that we have to deal with on a daily. This is why this country is on its backside, right? Britain's rural racist. Racism in the countryside is getting worse, with abuse too often tolerated or even normalised, the report claims.
This nonsense is of a different level, and it is brought to you via the Daily Mail, but really courtesy of the University of Leicester, one of our proud seats of learning, where kids go to get indoctrinated into Marxism and all that kind of nonsense.
Morning, right? Peter.
OK, so the University of Leicester, they decide that they're going to do this really credible, in-depth research into racism in rural communities. Now, when you see an opinion poll and you say whatever company it was interviewed 35,000 people.
Yes.
Yeah, to get their percentage on what people are going to vote for and that kind of stuff. The University of Leicester interviewed 115 people.
115?
115. So it's a really in-depth piece of work.
Not really.
It's really
strategically
credible.
selected, as
really credible. Yes, yes. And 20 community groups.
He's on it this morning.
We know what they mean when they say community groups, don't we?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Was it the Boys Brigade?
No.
Was it the British Legion?
No.
Did they pop down a Conservative club?
Certainly not.
No, they probably did none of the above.
No.
Anyway, it's claimed that the countryside is a rural space, and do you know what? There's some really, really bad stuff going on out there. Really bad stuff. There is non-verbal clues are being given as to people's racism, such as unfriendly body language. Oh, my words! Imagine being offended by unfriendly body language.
Well, what's unfriendly? Sorry, what does that mean?
Well, you'll have to contact the University of Leicester.
It's this, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, go on, roll your eyes. Oh, unfriendly body language.
Oh, Peter Blexley. I don't even to speak. Watch this.
Yeah, you're persecuting. Rolling your eyes and persecuting me.
I am persecuting you because you're a horrible human being.
I'm going to contact the University of Leicester.
Well, you won't get any answers. They're too busy. What else? What else?
Yeah, so it goes on. One of the groups that's not very happy about all this is the Countryside Alliance, of course.
Yes.
Because they stand in defence of the countryside.
Good for them.
The beautiful British countryside, which if Miliband has his way, he'll cover entirely with solar panels made in China that might catch fire if the sun shines too
a text from your wife saying, can he calm down? We haven't had breakfast yet. Go on, crack on.
Yeah. So it goes on. And basically, It's a load of nonsense,
It's
really.
extraordinary,
You
isn't
know,
it?
that they just blanket kind of.
I have no
accuse the
time
countryside.
for any racism is fundamentally wrong, but this country is stuck in this warp of misery and problems left, right and centre. And the University of Leicester, how much did that cost? A couple of $100,000 or something, was it?
I think they're too ashamed to put a price on it, actually. I mean, it can't have been that much if they only interviewed 115 people. I mean, really. And then they pump this nonsense out as some kind of credible, in-depth academic research. Oh, my word, how I'd love to enter the world of academia.
Right,
Oh.
just there you go, 5 to 7. I'm going to finish this wonderful ad with Peter Blexley. By the way, oh, yes, so it's Stalin's 63rd birthday. With inflation, he'll be 65 by this evening.
Hey, very
Great,
good.
love it. Peter the Great, loving the show. 87222, start your message with the word talk. 0344, let's get a colour on. 344, from the Sun. Now, are you a Strictly fan?
No.
Why not?
Because it's dross.
Got offered it once, genuine. Jeremy Kyle in spandex, not happening. Like Dancing on Ice, get lost. Strictly fat jabs alert. Basically, 5 stars are on the what is it? The I don't know.
Manjaro.
That one.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, they're so scared that they won't last the rigorous training campaign that they're all stuck. Everything's being.
Yeah.
What is all that rubbish?
Yeah, well, they're weight loss jabs,
Can I
aren't
just?
they?
I'm going to
They're very
upset
popular.
somebody, right? But sorry, this is just a view. I understand that some people, tread carefully, Christian, have issues with glands and things, right? Okay. I'm not sure whether these fat jabs down the line are any good, but as Mike and I have always said, you are what you put in your mouth. And I haven't as yet met anybody who doesn't eat a lot that's 25 stone. Or drink a lot.
Well,
I mean, I'm not trying to be rude. I could go further. You know, eat less. Exercise more.
Yeah, eat less,
Well, it's
move
not
more.
hard, is it? Oh, I'm a lifestyle expert. How do I improve my life? Look at Mikey. Mikey's changed his life, hasn't he? He's only drinking 4 bottles of red a night now. No, he's eating better and he's exercising. He looks fantastic for it. Take bloody responsibility. Oh, society needs to make sure that I have a jab from the NHS because I like to eat a lot of burgers.
I'm a fat bloke and I'm here for a good time, not a long time, and I'm going for a croissant now.
Are you? What sort of croissant? An almond croissant? Or
Something with chocolate in it.
Really? I saw one saying a raspberry croissant yesterday. I should at this point point out that I can't have a croissant because I have been diagnosed... don't laugh.
I wasn't.
What?
I wasn't.
I'm that celiac and that other thing, so it's not great.
Right.
Oh, we got a voice note. So you have a
Lovely.
croissant. Darren, on Starmer's birthday. Good morning. Is this Darren Jones?
Morning, you two, you pair of legends. Darren over here in Holland. Do we even know it's his birthday? I mean, he might be lying about that as well. The best thing he can do is he can do one before his next birthday and give us all a present. All right, lads, have a good day. Ta-ra, man.
I wouldn't have put the accent. Hello, Darren. I'm in the Netherlands. What do you think he's doing there?
Who knows?
Had a trip to Amsterdam.
In a cafe, having an early breakfast.
You haven't yet spoken about the amazing show Mike and I are doing at the Shepherd's Bush Empire on Saturday, November the 15th.
Which reminds me to go home and get my tickets.
Well, you
thank
should do. By the way, I've been told there's less than 50 tickets available. This is great news. We're almost sold. Ticketmaster.com, Ticketmaster app, Saturday the 15th of November. Shepherd's Bush Empire. It's called the World of Common Sense. It's going to be anything but. It's going to be madness.
With special guests.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. Yeah, that's why Mike's in America. Are you going to come? And don't give me what everybody else in this building thinks. Oh, can I have a freebie? No, pay your money. The money we pay you, bring Mrs. Blexley. We'll bring her on stage.
No, you won't.
Why not? Let's get the truth
She
about...
ticks the no publicity box in her pools coupon every week.
Does she do the pools still?
No. But if she did, she would tick the no publicity
She doesn't like a bet.
She doesn't like publicity.
Does she not?
No.
And she's married to you?
Yes.
How long has she been betrothed?
30 years.
Jesus, get less than that for double murder. The legend that is Peter Blexley. You've 1 minute on Starmer's 63rd birthday. What's your pause for thought? What's your thought for the day?
Well, I think, you know, there needs to be a gift to the nation from Sir Keir Starmer, OK, on his birthday. I'm sure he's been receiving gifts from the children and from his wife, if she's still around. I haven't seen her lately.
No, I haven't either, no.
But, you know, so in the spirit of giving as well as receiving, I think he should give the nation a gift which ought to be his resignation.
Which we will receive with the undue thanks it deserves. You are amazing. We love having you on. The legend is Peter Blexley. When power changes, this man should run the police. It's great to have you, my friend. Thank you very much indeed. News at 7 on the way. Matthew Torbett, former Labour advisor, who said on the night of the general election, this is as good as it gets because it's going to be a nightmare. He was proven right. 0344 499 1000 is your telephone number. Text to 87222. Do please start your message with the word talk. Morning Glory back in 3. The news at 7 is next.
My message to people smugglers is this. I think smashing the gangs is a deterrent. Smash the gangs. Smash the people smuggling gangs.
People smuggling puns.
He couldn't even smash an avocado for a piece of toast.
Or the people... What would that... The people...
I think smashing the gangs is a deterrent. Well, it might be if you smashed any, if you found any.
The people smash... The smash...
And he hasn't smashed anything. I mean, literally all he does is he smashes records every sort of couple of weeks, where more and more people come in a period of 24 hours.
Smash the gangs that are running this vile trade.
You're never going to smash the gangs. That's something that basically is impossible. The gangs are like the Hydra. You cut the head off and another two grow.
So I did write to ministers and say that I wasn't convinced that smashing the gangs was the right sort of way of thinking about things.
We will smash the gangs that undermine our security.
Keir Starmer has just tweeted 15 minutes ago. He says, I know you're angry about immigration. I get it. We will smash the people smuggling gangs at source. Maybe I'll just read it all in his accent, shall I?
There is no return to freedom of movement. We have left the EU. I do not accept that prevents us working with other police units here, with prosecutors here, to smash the gangs.
Well, I'm sure the smuggling gangs are absolutely quaking in their boots now. Keir Starmer's on their case. Solving this issue, smashing the gangs, is that the impossible dream, Tom?
It really seems beyond him at the minute, I have to say.
We're going to get the evil people smugglers and we're going to smash them and we're going to put them in jail. That will solve the migrant crisis. Prime Minister Keir Starmer's promise to smash the gangs has resulted in just 5 convictions. Hurrah for operating small boats.
So what he really wants to say is that this policy of smashing the gangs is a total and utter disaster. There isn't a cat in hell's chance that it's going to work.
It's crap. It's crap. That's what he's basically saying.
I know you're angry about immigration. I get it. Mark my words, I will take back control of our borders. That means cutting migration, ending the use of asylum hotels and ramping up our efforts to stop small boat crossings.
It's like a parallel universe, the real world, as told by the impressive David Bolt, and Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves' fantasy world.
We will smash the people smuggling gangs at source.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
God bless you, my children. Welcome along. The Morning Glory is on. Mike's back on Thursday. We're here for the next 3 hours. We got rid of Peter Blexley, right, because Peter Blexley does an hour because he charges so much money. And then Matthew Torbett's trains bugger. So we got you back.
Am I getting paid overtime?
Oh, it's all about the money. Before I go to the phone lines, and there are loads lined up, 0344 499 1000, you're going to love this, Blexley, right?
Yeah.
So during the break, I get an email, from, I'm not going into details, from the insurance company that do my buildings and contents on my house.
Yeah.
Right? And they're just giving me the requote. Literally, the woman's name is Miss Safe.
Marvellous.
She's called Miss Safe, and she's trying to sell me buildings and contents insurance, which got us thinking. And then Christian comes in, because Christian's the font of all information. And he went, at primary school, he said, I had a music teacher called Mr. G Sharp.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Followed by, we're pointing out to us that at some point, some time ago, the BBC, were doing a report on the fuel shortages. Do you remember the fuel shortages? And the reporter was called Phil McCann.
Yeah.
Come on, Blexley. So anything you've got like that, I'd love to hear this morning. 7 87222. Start your message with the word talk. Now, we're going to speak to some people on the... What are you doing now?
I've got something funnier.
Oh.
I found something funnier.
What?
And it's from the front page of The Guardian.
Well, it would be funny. I don't actually, can I be honest, I don't have that newspaper.
No, right, OK.
I used it this morning to wipe
It's just a headline that's flagging up a feature that's in another section of the newspaper, right?
Oh, my God.
And this is the most stupid question which could only be asked by The Guardian.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's such a stupid paper it doesn't realise it's being incredibly stupid.
No.
And the question is, why are so many vegan restaurants struggling?
He's gone again. What's wrong with veganism?
Because why are they struggling? Because they're rubbish and nobody wants to eat the dross that they serve up.
7:05. David, on Keir Starmer's 63rd birthday, go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Keir Starmer. From the migrants who love you. Happy birthday, Keir.
Nice, 63 today, Keir Starmer. What would you give him for his birthday? Is P45? 87222, start your message with the word talk. Don, I am surprised that we don't have a bank holiday on Starmer's birthday. We could all celebrate the great leader. Yeah, dream on. Don, to the phone lines. Andrew is in Essex. He's a brand new caller to Morning Glory. Andrew, you're on. Good morning. Peter Blex is with me as well.
Well, it's good to hear you two. Wonderful, wonderful. I just want to start off. I've got a couple of things, and one of them, you guys, might just be able to answer the question. The first one is, I work in television, and I work with every creed, colour you can imagine, and I'm not racist, I'm really not. But I can't work out how we're spending more money on people claiming benefits than working. I mean, you've only got to do the math. Something is going to go wrong. But anyway, that's one of the points. Point two, I'd like to see if you can help me on this, because I can't get my head around how this doesn't work. They're saying now that you cannot deport migrants unless the country they are going to acknowledges their receipt and they were willing them to take them in. Now, if they're not going to take them in, we're stuck. However, they then went on to say, and this other channel, they must be as thick as two planks, but if they're saying that once they leave France and they get halfway across the water, they are our responsibility.
Yeah.
So why the heck can't we take them back halfway across the channel and leave them? Then they would be France's responsibility. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right. First question, you work in television?
I do. I'm a presenter, yes.
Right. Not for long if you have these opinions. Good morning to my friend Rylan. Don't worry, listen, that's from a man with a 15-year career that used to be. Let me tell you something, categorically, you're absolutely spot on right. They talk about returns agreements. Farage has talked about returns agreements, Pete, hasn't he? He's talked about making things from countries. But apparently, despite the fact that they will say we don't want them back, we, once they come into our waters, it's our responsibility, which would respectfully suggest to me that the thing to do is what I've been talking about for 3 years, which is put the Navy, for example, at that moment and turn those boats back so they're not in British waters. Why is that so unfair, Pete?
You mentioned his name, I'm going to pick up on it. Boycott anyone who cancels Rylan. Rylan was just echoing the views of millions of people. Of
course he was.
And if anybody cancels him, shame on them.
Well, he's not going to be on ITVs this morning.
Well, to answer your question in broader terms, Section 3 of the Immigration Act, 1971, says it is a criminal offence to enter the UK without leave to remain. OK? It's a criminal offence. However you come in here, if you've not got permission, it's a criminal offence, all right? The lefty commentators will conveniently ignore that. The real lunatic lefty ones will say, oh, well, it doesn't apply to refugees and asylum seekers. It doesn't say that in the Immigration Act. It simply says under Section 3 it's a criminal offence to enter the UK without leave to remain.
So what we need, Andrew, a new caller from Essex, is a government with the balls to actually stand by what's on the statute book and do the right thing. Thank you for your call. Let's head to Devon. No, it's not. It's Dorset. Oh, lovely. I don't know why I've done that, because I live in Dorset. Jordan, whereabouts in Dorset? Are you allowed to say or not?
Yeah, I can say near Blandford.
What?
Near Blandford.
Excellent, Blandford. Very nice. No idea where it is. Right, Jordan, speak up. You muttering man. You're on Morning Glory. Go.
Good morning. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm just honestly completely worried with the state of the country. I've got a 7-month-old daughter, and I'm worried what life she's going to be brought up into, what country she's going to be brought up into. I really hope that they change this horrible Labour government and get someone with actually some right common sense in and get the country back on its feet.
I think you'd speak Trev, for loads of people, and Jordan, and I said the other day, which is really interesting, right? I have so many children, it's ridiculous, but my youngest daughter is 18, 19 months, Iris, and Ollie's 6 in January. And for the first time in my life, guys, I think exactly the same. I whether I'm in London or I'm at home and stuff I hear and stuff I see, Pete, the very fabric of what I believe this country was about and what actually I will teach my kids. I mean, listen, Jordan, I told the story again. I did it. I told it yesterday. I tell it every day. I came down the lift 2 weeks ago here in this building, me and a woman. As the doors opened, I said, after you, and she said, why? Because I'm a woman. That to me takes away almost everything that I was ever taught, Pete. And that's what I'm going to teach my son to do, by the way. Open a door for a woman and open a car door for a woman. That's what I'm going to teach my son. And I ain't apologising to any bugger for that.
Manners maketh man. My mum drilled that into me, and it stuck, fortunately. Jordan, first of all, enjoy that beautiful baby daughter of yours. Yeah. They grow up very, very quickly. Spend every possible moment you can with her. And every night before you put her to bed, make sure you kiss her and tell her that you love her. That would be my parenting advice. Anyway, right, of course, he's kind of... the demise of this great nation. Yes. He's mourning it. He's mourning it. And forgive me for harping back to my trip to Norfolk for a couple of days. It reminded me of the UK of many, many years ago. It was polite. There was humour from the people that were serving us food. You could have a laugh and a gag with them. Of course you could. And there was... After you, sir. After you, madam.
Now you're too terrified that somebody's going to cancel if you say good morning or good afternoon or can I open the door or that wasn't nice. I mean, awful.
It was there in abundance. Yeah. A man pulled up yesterday in the car park on a beautiful looking motorbike. I've never owned a motorbike, but it was on an N plate, the old school N registration plate. I said to him, excuse me, how old is that motorbike? And thereafter we had this brilliant 10-minute conversation when he talked all about overhead underhang and gangle sprockets and all sorts of things.
We're not trying to lose
that I didn't understand.
Yeah, good.
But, you know, yeah,
No, I agree.
I long for that as well.
Trev, Jordan, the answer is this, mate. I guess it's on us, the people that seem to maintain a degree of sanity, to keep pushing that to our kids. Thank you for your call. Very quickly, Trevor's in London. Very quickly, Trev. 30s. What's that light doing? Oh, that's the Look at that. That's the morning light coming through. Look. It's like it's a shroud. Good morning. Sorry, look at the sun. Right. Hello, Starmer's birthday.
Good morning.
Oh, sorry. Trev, what do you want to say? The sun is shining in my eyes.
What I'd like to say is I grew up in Northern Ireland in the 70s, 80s and the 90s. And the government at that time oppressed the people.
Brilliant. So he grew up in Northern Ireland, but unfortunately his phone doesn't work. Can I tell you a true story? It was a gag I saw from a comedian whose name I can't remember. And it was Michael McIntyre. Michael McIntyre. He said, the only accent in the world you can tell without a person opening their mouth is the Northern Irish accent. Do you know why? This is how a Northern Irish person sneezes. Achoo! Morning, Trevor, you're back.
I'm sorry, yes. What I'd like to say is that does this government not learn from its lessons?
No.
In Northern Ireland, where the oppressed were pushed back, terrorism grew, hatred grew. And is this what they want to see happening in the future? I don't want to see it. I don't want to see my kids see it.
I completely agree, mate. I think your frustration is shared by so many. We appreciate your call. Pete, 12 minutes past 7, 0344 499 1000. Betty. Do you know Betty? Oh, Betty.
Oh, well, I might do. Where's she from?
Peter is the one person I would love to have an early breakfast in Amsterdam with. I've no idea why you've got to go to Amsterdam for breakfast. I don't know whether it will be a chocolate croissant. Good morning to Janice in Chester. Quote of the day from Peter. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I remember that one. Keep piling the pressure on Starmer, boys. Justin Peter, I hope Sir Stalin has made his own birthday cake. I'd have happily made it for him, but I'm not... no, we're not going down that route. We remember that story. Anna's in Surrey. The guy who put our air conditioning unit in was called John Frost. This is based on the fact that I got... If you just tuned in, I got an email this morning from the lady trying to renew or sell me building and contents insurance, and I swear on my life she was called Miss Safe, which is ludicrous. Then, of course, Christian bailed in and went, my music teacher used to be called Mr. G Sharp. Richie's in Grimsby. When I was in secondary school, my religious education teacher was called Mr. Christmas. I'm dribbling now. Ian's in Sheffield. Oh, for Starmer's birthday, we should book him a one-way trip to Ethiopia with his pal Angela Raina. Great show, thank you. Oh, hello. I had a teacher called Miss Smarty. Let's not talk about her pants. This is the best, though. Phil, morning, gang. My dad had to see a consultant. He had bowel problems. He was...
I'm bracing myself.
He was called Mr. C. Pyle. He was called... Do you know that's what they called me at school? Kyle Pyle Hemorrhoid. That's what they called me.
Oh.
And this is true. Gary from Canterbury, and we'll move on. It's brilliant. He said, there's a guy in the New York Apple store. There's a genius guy who helps me out every time. He's called Samsung. He's literally called Samsung. How can he can't be called Samsung? Gary Canterbury, brilliant. Any more of them? 8722. Starting messages. Are we allowed to have such fun in such a miserable existence?
Of course we are. It's so important.
Yeah, it is.
That we're in these troubled times that somehow, some way, we grasp onto something that we either love with
Go
all
to the
our
Big
hearts,
Apple store in New York and
or
say,
it's going to make us laugh.
can I speak to Mr. Samsung, please? Imagine going because you've got a problem with your backside. Hello, my name's Mr. Christopher Pyle. Really? There we go. Back to the phone lines. Hull. Oh, Steve, good morning, sir. Welcome to Talk. How are you?
Morning, Jeremy. Morning, Peter. I've just rung my mother to wish her happy birthday. She's 93 today.
Who is?
And I told her she shares her birthday with Keir Starmer, and she's devastated.
Is she there?
No, she still lives alone.
You leave her on her own at 93, you hideous human being.
My mum lives on her own at 96.
But she's devastated, spoiled her day because she shares her birthday with Keir Starmer.
What's her name?
Margaret.
Margaret, 93. Is she listening right now?
No.
Brilliant, excellent. OK, well, there's no point in me saying happy birthday. But I take your point. Tell her not to be devastated. Tell her to keep the faith and tell her we love her very much indeed. You're very kind. Alex in Liverpool, a very good morning. Love you, Jez and Pete. Peter for Home Secretary.
See, beyond policing. You see, you always pigeonhole me and say, yeah, come the revolution, you can run policing. There you see, a caller would like me to have a larger, rather wider remit, so I could do prisons as well, and I could do immigration and all that
What do you
kind
want
of
to do?
stuff.
Take over the bleeding country? There's a queue. Listen, somebody of you don't take this. How old are you?
Oh, thank you very much for ruining my morning.
How old are you?
I'm 65.
You're only 5 years older than me, and yet I almost, and this is actually a compliment, you remind me of my old man. Not because he's dead and you're still alive, but because the values, and I'm being completely serious here. I refuse. I had this argument with my kids the whole time. I am not apologising for the stuff that I was brought up on that put me here, and other people. There is plenty that you can go, it's not right. That's the way of the world, but I am not having every goddamn thing that I was brought up to believe in, stuff that you talk about, we talk about, trashed.
Likewise.
Russ is an early riser. I don't wish to know. Voice note, go.
Morning, Jezza. Russell Hertfordshire here. Up at 4 o'clock this morning, cleaning all the windows in my town so that the immigrants can come to the shops, look through the windows and see what they can buy with my money. Anyway, have a good one, Jezza. Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.
Good man, we're going to break in a minute. Very quickly, keep those texts coming. Tim in London, I just got on the tube to let a lady sit down. The look I got from her was wow from the other men. What are you doing? Sit down, mate. You see what I mean? Pete, I was thinking, says Keith Bennett, September the 2nd should now be called a National Day of Mourning as it's his birthday. This is brilliant. Steve, I used to... Can't do this. I used to work with two German automotive engineers called Mr. Reck and Mr. Prang. You can't. Mr. Reck and Mr. Prang. Derek said, Norfolk. He said, I went to a dentist once and the bloke was called Mr. Fang. You can't do that. But I'm going to the break with Katie Young, and I expect a sense of humour, peeps. Morning, Jez. My initials are KY. Can you imagine what happened to me at school? Back in a minute. I've got to go to a dark room. Cheers, Pete.
90% of British people will never live in a brand new house with underfloor heating, and it just should not be the case that you can break the law and within days be housed in a place like, well, not days, they've obviously spent some time in a hotel and then they'd be moved to, but this also opens up the secondary question that Labour are banging on about closing these hotels. But then the number of people arriving are at record levels. So they might close the hotels, but these people will still be being housed on the taxpayers' expense. And where are they going to move? They're going to move to houses of multiple occupancy.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Right, stop having a laugh for it. But no, I'm not going to stop having a laugh. We're in a very serious moment, so it is good to laugh. Thank you to Peter Blakeslee. So if you do have a teacher... No, actually, anybody in your life whose name is just slightly ironic. Mr Prang, the car guy, is excellent. Mr Fang, the dentist. Mr G Sharp, the music teacher. And Miss Safe, the woman who tries to sell insurance. 87222. Start your message with the word talk. Now, this is brilliant. We put this... Well, I don't put the show together, but lots of people put the show together. It's all about timing. And people are supposed to arrive on time. Nothing to do with Matthew Talbot, the only lefty that will ever be on any show I ever do, because the man is a sensible human being. He just came in the studio and went, everything in this country is buggered under Labour, and I used to be a Labour advisor. Even the tube's late.
Nothing works anymore. Hasn't for years. It's a nightmare.
So everybody is stuck on tubes and stuff like that. So we're just taking our time this morning. Matty, welcome to the show. You okay?
I'm good. Are you?
I'm good. Richard, what's that story? Just names the bloke at school.
Yeah, so my best friend at school was fortunately called Liam, but his last name was Pritchard, and his dad wanted to call him Richard, so he would have been Richard Pritchard, depending on your accent. And
Richard Pritchard.
Had a bit of a near miss with that one.
7:23. I've got to do this to you because you know me. I'm totally straight with you. Yesterday, well, first of all, actually, Keir Starmer's 63. Would you like to wish the man that you despise happy birthday?
I don't despise him. I just don't think he's any good. I mean, he's coming up to pensionable age. He might as well retire and go out on I don't know, a high. Listen, I had all this yesterday with the whole mini reshuffle of people.
What do you make of that?
Bizarre. He put out a video. And I've had an all-staff meeting. Sorry, this is not a HR thing at Comet or Curry's. This is you're running a country. Can you imagine Tony Blair, Harold Wilson, Margaret Thatcher going, well, I've had an all-staff meeting and we've all decided. You're a leader. You never see Nigel Farage or any of the others going, well, or Kemi going, I've spoke to Lee Rowley, Chief of Staff, and he reckons we should do this. Have some gumption, do something about it. Darren Jones never served in government till last year.
Darren Jones, I wanted to do it because Darren Jones is now, a new role, Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister,
yeah,
which I've never heard of.
No, it's new.
A lot of people say that Starmer lies, and it would seem to me that, because I made the Express one, I only said this flippantly, it would seem to me he's the perfect candidate, because he too is a liar. Have a watch, have a listen.
And when you see that the majority of the people in these boats are children, babies and women who have been...
No, they're not. I mean, they fundamentally aren't. That was a blatant lie. I should think he'd fit in well in number 10. But more than anything, apart from that, undermining Reeves, isn't it? I mean, that is it. I mean, in front of the Telegraph this morning is saying, smiling through the pain. She's been sidelined, hasn't she?
No, I think the opposite, actually. I think I disagree with the papers. I think
Do you?
I
think it's a reverse takeover of number 10 by number 11.
Really?
All her people, with the economic outlook they've got, now surround Keir Starmer. It doesn't matter what she's got, she'll bring more people in, I have no doubt. And whether there'll be another... There's been a mini reshuffle because of this, with Dan Tomlinson coming in as the Exchequer to the Secretary now. all her people surround him because he has no political outlook, he has no economic nous, there is no vision, there is no...
And you are, just for people waking up, you are a former Labour advisor.
Yeah, the thing is, people out there go, well, he's a leftist.
No, you don't. No, I will stick up, and Christian knows this.
I will always be fair.
I will always stick up for this man because this man is proper, working class, brought himself up, understands the North. And we talk about your dad a lot. And you're massively disappointed, aren't you?
Yeah, I hate it. Listen, I would love us to be doing so much better things. I don't like the idea of reform quite inevitably winning the next election. I hate the idea. The problem with any sort of mini staff reshuffle, and I said this yesterday as well, you can try and change the mood music. If the mood doesn't change, there's nothing you can do. Change the personnel to try and put out better news. If there is no good news to give out, there's no good news to give out. It doesn't matter who's delivering the news. The only way forward, and I hate to be dramatic, but we're a year in and miles behind where we need to be, at historic low popularity ratings, is a clearing of the decks. 6 out of 10 Labour voters now want rid of Reeves and don't see tax rises as viable. They don't think it's acceptable regardless of the economic outlook. And is it 41% of Labour voters want rid of Keir? You have to get rid of both and you have to start again to give yourself even half a chance at the next election.
Well, let's talk about that. And you said this to me, the quote of the decade in my mind, when we were doing drive time. You said to me that I told everybody on the night of the general election that's as good as it's going to get. Fact.
The footage is out there. I picked up on the doorstep a huge surge in popularity for Reform in the 2 weeks that if it had ran for another 4 weeks, Reform could have had 3 times the amount of seats they ended up with, 1,000,000%. And all I kept picking up is nobody actually liked us. They just hated the Tories more and they was willing to give somebody else a chance. There's no other option, in a sense.
So on his 63rd birthday, I'm trying to think that if Starmer did go, what would he do? But yesterday, we were talking about Rachel Reeves. Have you seen the clip of her with the school children?
Yes.
If you are waking up this morning, this lady, she runs the finances of this country and actually lets out what she'd love to have been if she hadn't have been an economist. Have a listen.
I've been hearing about you in the news that you like taxes. If you had 3 wishes, what would it be?
Oh my goodness. To answer your questions well, to make sure that all children have a good start in life, and for my own children to give me less chat back. I don't think that third one's going to come true.
If you could have another job, what would that be?
Oh, well, what I'd really like to be is Beyonce, but I don't think I'm ever going to be Beyonce. So before I became an MP, I worked in finance. I worked in banks and financial institutions. So I guess that's what I would go back to doing. But at the moment, I'm doing the job that I want more than any other job. I'm in charge of the country's finances. All right? Yeah, you happy with my answers? I get a high five. Hey, very good.
Matthew, you were in charge of, you worked, you know about communications, you know about PR, you know about messaging. And by the way, is it chatback or backchat? She can't even speak bleeding English. Honest to God, his video, reset number 2, it just doesn't come across as organic or authentic. It doesn't work, does it?
No, because of her. And, I'm not saying it to be mean. That sort of comms, I don't mind. I think doing something different, trying to be fun, showing a personality is fine. The problem is, and this sounds terrible, she hasn't got one. It sounds awful. Both her and Keir are very wooden people. Play to your strengths. Show yourself as serious. Show yourself as getting a grip of the economy, doing serious stuff. Unfortunately, that sort of playful stuff that I think can play very well for some people and show people in a nice light. Boris Johnson would have done all right with that. Angela Raina probably would have done all right with that. It's like she's really... The first time I watched it, I thought she's trying to force personality and force...
Do you know the old man used to say...
Trying too hard.
Do you know the old man that people who don't understand cricket won't get this, but he always used to say in life, let the ball come onto the bat. Don't try and hit everything for 6. And it's true. It is forced. It's not organic. It doesn't look real. You brought up our Ange, who's had quite a week since you and I have last spoken. We saw all the footage in Hove and the boat and lots of questions about, where did you get the mortgage and how did you afford that and which is your property and council tax. Extraordinary story this morning that says that, she says, I'd love to talk about my tax affairs, but I've been gagged. Now, unless I'm missing the point, to me, I smell a massive rat here. What do you mean gagged by whom? Not by the government.
No, my understanding is there's a court case ongoing, whether this is to do with divvying up of things out of the divorce from her husband or whatever else. I don't know is the truth. I think Angela has to be open to the possible charge of hypocrisy, not just on what she said in opposition, and it looking a bit like do as I say, not do as I do. But I thought more broadly that, you know, if you're buying more than one home, that can be easily be seen as the reason why certain people can't get on the housing ladder, supply and demand.
Which is what they kept going on about. Yeah. Bloody rich Tories buying second homes, which defines the difficulty that locals are going through. Hypocrisy, absolutely. And also, we always talk about your dad up north, and you came from a working class background. The one thing that you joined Labour for was that, to help the working class people. That was the title of the party, Labour. I've talked to you about how I don't believe they are the party of the working people. To me, she shone out. Where she came from, a story, the narrative behind the single mother, the grandmother at 38 or whatever, who made it all the way to Deputy Prime Minister. She's betrayed those people. She's betrayed those beliefs. There's a stench about this, right, that is, as you just rightly said, I'm going to stand there and call Tories scum, and I've no time for the Tories, right? And I'm going to say, you know, boys with their noses in the trough, darling, this looks awful.
It can look awful, but at the same time, I'd say the country's shifted. I remember the utter outrage. I was fuming about it. People like Gary Barlow, people like Jimmy Carr that were avoiding legally paying tax and using schemes. Then it was Gary Lineker, then it was Wayne Rooney, all these different people that use very expensive finance people to ensure that they're not paying the tax that they should. Are you pulling a face because you've done it as well? I didn't know if you have, Jeremy.
Honestly, what are you accusing me of? No, not at all. No, I actually genuinely haven't. I don't know where that's come from. No, I haven't.
You were smirking in a way that made me
I was smirking because I was thinking of something really silly.
Oh, right,
I saw a clip of all the stuff with Ryland, and they showed him on X Factor saying to Gary Barlow, why would I listen to you? You need to lose weight. I don't know, my head was just...
okay. This is where I was losing. I'm bored. I'm boring, apparently.
I am going to sue you for slander. You're done, you are, Toby. What are you talking about?
My point is, I think lots more people in ordinary life use this sort of stuff now and would put their houses in a trust so that their kids get every penny and
yes, it might have changed, but if you base... Thank you so much. That just brought some tea. If you base your life on a certain way of being, you have to at least show that you're living that life that way. So I have no problem with it. This is my issue with the Labour Party, and we've had this discussion before. I have no problem with aspiration. I'm very proud of the fact that she can have 3 homes, but don't sit there and pontificate about anybody who makes anything needs to be taxed, trashed or pushed out of whatever, when in fact you've made it from nothing and you should be able to celebrate what you've got. And that for me is the basis of where we go wrong with socialism, because it is not we shouldn't make sure that certain people, but you've got one policy, the Labour Party, which is to tax anybody, not just the rich, anybody that's done anything with their lives. And small businesses, medium businesses, we're going to crush you with NI. Those employ people, money filters down into the economy. That all goes. That's what I think.
So what are we angry about? Because she's bought an expensive house, people are annoyed about that. I think you should be entitled to buy whatever houses you want. Obviously, I think you need to be building more. I've got no issue. Are we angry because she's not probably paid the tax that she maybe should have done? Well, if that's the case, fine.
I'm angry because I don't know who the ginger bloke is that was paddling the boat. Is that the boyfriend, do you think?
The face was censored, which would suggest it's the elder son, actually. She's got 3 kids, 2 kids, teenagers.
Has she?
Now. Yeah. I'm not going to name names, but I see one of them at the football quite a bit. He's a big Stockport fan, so...
There are Stockport fans.
Yes, we sell out most weeks. 10,000 of us. Don't worry about us.
Look at that. See, proper Northern luck. We love... Listen, so you weren't happy. The tube that messed you up this morning, it's completely thrown you good. And I'm going to let you into a world exclusive here, peeps, because Toby is the only lefty I ever speak to, former Labour advisor. Guess what he and I are doing on Friday? This is bloody brilliant.
It's not a secret.
I'm hosting the Reform Party conference with David Ball, and he's coming. Talbot's at the Reform conference.
Anyone attending, I will be speaking at a couple of panels. One about prisons and what we do about the prisons crisis and how we maybe tackle crime a little bit better. We have one of Reform's, the former copper that's going to be standing, I forget his name, Colin Sutton. Colin Sutton's going to be there. There's rumours of a former number 10 Director of Communications under Tony Blair being there, which would be very interesting.
My lips are sealed.
And also, I'm going to be speaking on one about what Nigel Farage has to do to get to number 10 and the challenges he may face.
It's just my opinion. You might share it, you might not. I think this man is a top man. We're sorry for the journey in, but we appreciate Neil in Stoke. Why do Labour politicians, can you ask your mate, only look confident when they're talking to kids? Do you think it's a mentality thing? He won't have that. We'll see you at Reform on Friday, the brilliant Matthew talk, but thank you very much indeed. 25 to 8. We're live across the UK. Morning Glory is on. Your calls on 0344 499 1000. Your text to 87222. Remember, I want funny ones. You know, this came about because I got an email from the woman trying to sell me insurance called Miss Safe. Christian, who's the executive producer of everything he purveys, he had a music teacher called Mr. G Sharp. My favourite was the man who took his car to the garage, the Mercedes garage, and a German man was called Mr. Prang to make it better. 87222. Start your message with the word talk. We'll go to the break with Pete, who's... is he celebrating Starmer's birthday or not?
53 today, 53 today. Give back the key to the door. We don't want you in number 10 anymore. 53 today.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
He is the housewife's choice for a reason. Ian Collins back this afternoon from 1. Julia here from 10. This is JK on Morning Glory in for Mike Graham. Thank you very quickly for all the people. This came about with... Christian has just come in and told me that he had a university lecturer, I'm going to try and say this properly, called Jenny Taylor. I like to say good morning to Kristen Chester, who says, this is true, I promise. My wife used to work for an American bank. On their global email list, there was a guy called Randy Beaver. I don't know what else to say. 87222, start your message with the word talks. 21 minutes to 8 o'clock. Rushing around this morning. My next guest, who was supposed to be here 20 minutes ago, walked through the studio and went, "The tubes are screwed. Blame Sadiq Khan." Mark Francois, how are you? Shadow Defence Minister, Conservative MP for Raleigh. Is it Raleigh and Wickford?
Raleigh and Wickford.
Raleigh and Essex and Wickford. How are you, MF?
Well, now I'm here. I'm fine, thank you very much.
If you were in charge of the tubes, they would... I'll tell you what the problem with the tubes is, shall I? It's too busy diversity. I was on the tube the other day. There's, employee of the month, but the trains don't bleed and work.
Look, I was on the Public Accounts Committee in the previous Parliament. We looked at TfL's finances. They are gigantically subsidised by the taxpayer to the tune of billions of pounds a year. So people who live in Bolton and Bury and Blackpool pay taxes to keep the tube running in London. If you took away that taxpayer subsidy, TfL is bankrupt tomorrow morning.
Couldn't make more sense. Very quickly, it is Keir Starmer's 63rd birthday. Any message from you and the Conservative Party?
Well, happy birthday. And as someone who recently turned 60.
Did you?
Yes, and I hope...
You don't look 60. I'm 60. When were you 60?
14th of August.
July the 7th. That means I'm older than you.
Anyway, happy birthday, Sir Keir. Hope you enjoy Darren Jones as a birthday present.
Darren Jones, I wanted to talk to you about this. We had the shuffle yesterday. Darren Jones is the man who went on Question Time. I played the clip numerous times and said, and I quote, "We all know that all the people that are coming over are kids and women," and everybody laughs at him. So he's a liar, so he'll fit in quite nicely at number 10, won't he?
Look, it's humiliating for Rachel from Accounts because he was her right-hand man.
Matthew Torbett thinks it's a number 11 takeover of number 10. You don't see it like that?
No, I don't see it like that. I see it as, I'm afraid to say, humiliating for her.
But she's useless.
Look, we've got a Prime Minister who didn't used to buy his own suits. We've got a Deputy Prime Minister who doesn't know where she lives. And we've got a Chancellor of the Exchequer who bursts into tears in the House of Commons. This is our government, Jeremy.
Yeah.
You know, if Spock were here, he'd say, this is a government, Jim, but not as we know it.
I like it. Good line there, MF. It's not working, though. Migration. And we will get to the Russian story I want to talk to you about. But, you know, 5 years ago, I was saying the other day, you couldn't mention immigration because people will call you a racist. I said this for 3 years, along with Mikey, right? This is going to be the number one issue at the election. Whoever dresses whatever up, I don't care what anybody's telling me, it is going to be about this. Now, you know my criticism of the Tories, 14 years, Rwanda might or might not have been a good idea. It wasn't done quick enough. And your Prime Minister called an election too quickly, blah, 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 and we've got this
But you and
rabble.
I have agreed on that before.
We got this rabble, right? I mean, all this rubbish. Front of the Mail. So Yvette Cooper, you were there yesterday, presumably, first day back at school. Yvette Cooper stands up and immediately, front foot, it's all about immigration. The one thing she didn't talk about in any way was the numbers. She promised us on the 8th of August it would be daily updates. Haven't heard from him in 5 weeks. 50,000 have come in since he took power. The Mail had to go to the Home Office last night because she didn't mention numbers. 1 in, 1 out. This is the reality since we had the meeting with the French. 3,567 in and bugger all out. It's unbelievable. People won't buy it much longer, Mark. They
Jeremy,
will not buy it.
If you remember, shortly after he took over, Starmer said no more gimmicks under a Labour government.
Yep.
No more gimmicks. This was, and he made a big thing about it. We're going to govern sensibly. We'll play everything dead straight. I paraphrase, but that was the essence of his argument, right? Well, this 1 in, 1 out, it is a gimmick. You know, it's 17 in and 1 out, and they're, according to the Mail, 3,567 in and 0 out. The public aren't stupid. And you're getting real, genuine public anger and all the flags, and there's nothing wrong with flying the flag of your country, by the way.
No.
It's like a cri de coeur. I think this is immense frustration by the public, and it's kind of, we've had enough, you know, not in our name is how I see it.
Somebody said to me last week, which I know you'd use and agree with, and it was just an email. I thought it was astonishing. It simply said, Jez, when the silent majority finally realised that their voice can be heard, the government, whatever colour, is really up a creek without a paddle.
Well, look, I mean, at the risk of making a prediction, if Corbyn and Zara Sultana get their act together...
In their new party, Jezbollah, do you like that as a name? Or Zara Sultana and the Fruitcake. She apparently didn't like me saying that, but she's called Zara Sultana, so what's wrong with Sultana and the Fruitcake?
Look, whatever you want to call it, let's say they get their act together.
Yeah.
My personal guess, just a guess, they'll formally launch it in the middle of the Labour Party conference for maximum publicity.
Okay.
But that's just a guess, right? So they finally get that up and running. Labour are on 20 points in a YouGov poll last week. They would probably take about a quarter of that. They take some from the left wing of the Lib Dems. They take a lot from the Greens, by the way.
Oh, it's their leadership.
Just follow me. I'm just positing a scenario. So now Labour are in the mid-teens in the polls. Then they're probably going to have a disastrous tax-raging budget maybe in late October or November. So not that far from now. It could be that by Christmas we've effectively got a zombie government.
And the Tories will be back in second place, because you've only got 17 or 18%.
In the same poll, we were on 17, that's correct. So if Labour were to go to 15 or 14 or 13 and all other things remain the same, yeah, we'd be second.
What about Reform at 35%?
Well, in that poll, I think they were on 28 from memory.
15-point lead in yesterday's YouGov poll. What's your response? You've come back to the Commons after your break. It would be fair to say that Nigel Farage and just the 4 MPs have controlled the rhetoric again. He made that launch about deportations. Kemi Badenoch said, we'll be giving ours soon. Do you feel, and I know it's a difficult position to be in, and I completely appreciate Chris Philp on yesterday, do you feel that your party could have been a bit quicker out of the blocks? Do you feel that the rhetoric, the impetus, the vibe, whatever you want to call it, has been stolen by Reform, who have been far more vocal, whilst you apparently look in the mirror and go, what went wrong 12 months ago?
OK, when I've been on before, you've paid me the compliment of saying that I'm straight-talking.
You are.
All right, so let me try and be straight-talking. The situation on the boats, to my mind, is now so critical, you will never solve it unless we leave the ECHR. I think, to me, that is self-evident.
Absolutely.
We have a review undergoing on whether or not we're going to commit to that. We've got a party conference coming up in October. I hope we will make a definitive announcement about that at the party conference in October. If we do declare that we're going to leave the ECHR, personally, I hope that's what we'll do, but there's a review ongoing. I think if we say that, and we sound like we mean it, then I think the public may then, on this issue of immigration, begin to give us a better hearing. Chris Philp has been absolutely knocking himself out on this, but, he's partly hidebound by the history of it.
Absolutely.
But, as you say, your analysis is correct. People are rightfully very angry.
Yep.
I believe if we make a clear commitment to leave the ECHR at our party conference, people will then at least begin to give us more of a hearing on this, and I hope we could then begin to close that gap.
Good man, you're the Shadow Defence Minister. I just want to, very quickly, Ursula von der Leyen's plane has been targeted by suspected Russian interference, forcing a pilot to land using paper maps. This was a story yesterday. A jet carrying the European Commission President of Bulgaria had its GPS navigation services disabled. The plane was forced to circle the airport for an hour before the pilot landed using analogue maps in what officials said was undeniable interference. An EU Commission said we can confirm it was happening. They suspect this blatant interference was carried out by Russia. We've only got a couple of minutes. That's a frightening thing, isn't it?
It is, but they've done it before. They did this to Grant Shapps when he was the Defence Secretary, if you remember.
I remember that.
And they have a massive jammer in Kaliningrad, which is that Russian enclave between Poland and Lithuania, and they've been jamming a number of aircraft using that piece of equipment for several years now. Look, you've got to remember, Vladimir Putin is an ex-KGB colonel. He's
Absolutely.
not a Boy Scout, right? He's an expert in what is sometimes referred to as hybrid warfare, which basically means extremely aggressive action, but short of what we would call all-out war. Things like poisoning. If you remember in 2018, they poisoned the Skripals, in Salisbury on British soil.
No.
They just recently fired a highly accurate cruise missile at the British Council in Kyiv. That was a British government building. They blew it up. So we're dealing here with a highly aggressive man in Putin, and I believe the only way to get him to listen, because I don't think he wants a ceasefire, unfortunately, he thinks he's winning, is we've got to up the sanctions, and principally that means attacking his oil and gas exports, and that means greater sanctions from the United States.
We love having you on. I'm sorry, but who do you blame for the tube this morning? Sadiq Khan?
Well, he's ultimately in charge of it, isn't he?
Absolutely. Mark Francois, Shadow Defence Minister, Tory MP for Rayleigh and Wickford. We really appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. It is Keir Starmer's birthday, and there are some astonishing text messages about this. I mean, we made it this story about, I got an email saying, from an insurance company saying, miss safe, and we've had all sorts of people. At my school, says Steve, we had a pupil in my class called Gordon Bennett. That's quite good, isn't it? Tracy in Bromley. There was a boy at my school called Tony Elbow. Is it seriously? I mean, that's not. I mean, has anybody got an art? No. Stephen is in Malvern. This is absolutely brilliant.
Jimmy, just very quickly.
Yes?
Do you remember when they had that fuel crisis thing a few years ago and people...
Phil McCann.
Phil McCann.
Yeah, I did it earlier. Listen to this. Stephen Malvern, good man, Mark. We once used as solicitors when we were buying a business, and I swear to you on our lives it was called Right Hassle. This is Tom Breakfast.
Think about what she's been criticised for in the past. It's going to Ibiza, it's having a vape on the beach.
I've never criticised her for those things.
I'm not saying that you have, but I'm talking broadly about the kind of criticism that Angela Raina gets. And I think she has a harder time than other politicians.
No, because she's in the news more because she's a very flamboyant, colourful character. And frankly, this bunch of complete sort of, they look like accountants, but sadly not that competent. She stands out. Everyone knows who she is.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Oh, we're back at 7 minutes to 7 in a tick. Jamie McIver, Reform Councillor at Epping, thank you in your thousands for these amazing stories. 87222. Richard's in Oxford. Our family doctor when we lived in Enfield was called Dr. Boyle. Nice. Julie in Spain. When I worked at the operating theatres in Bristol many years ago, you'll think I'm making this up, it was a sister blood and a sister organ. And the staff nurse was called Miss Gore. Staff nurse Gore, that's good. That's ridiculous. Oliver, or even Olivia. I work in the NHS. I promise you, just on my life over the years, I've worked with Dr. Coffin, I've worked with Dr. Death, and I've worked with Mr. Chicken, who was a surgeon. And I also literally once worked with a doctor called Dr. Nurse. Now, I mean, honestly, 87222. I'm not sure about the next one, but I'll go with it. Hello, D. D says, my father worked with brothers Terrible and Horrible. You see, I think that might be a wind-up, but we'll go with that one. What's that? Good morning. I used to work with a policeman called Robert Soul. He used to answer the phone, PCR Soul speaking. PCR Soul speaking. My husband's name was Beaton and his surname was Hart, so he was a beating heart. Oh, you're getting now. Alison's in South Wales. My ex-husband used to work in a laboratory. I promise you his boss was called Dr. Brain. Sean's in Norfolk. I worked with a bloke, this is brilliant, whose stepson was called Wayne King. Great show and double act. 5 to 8. Good morning. Jamie McIver, really good to have you on. Reform councillor in Epping. Your mum was on yesterday.
I know. Yeah, she's been. I'm very proud. I'm proud of all those women in Epping. Obviously, my mum, I think, is doing an amazing job. She has, as someone that doesn't do media or anything, she is eloquently, I think, speaking for the country at the moment in terms of how things are in Epping, which, by the way, things in Epping are awful.
Tell me about, on a serious note, there are headlines we hear about. I mean, there was a story in the Mail today that the judge that overturned the case turned out to be, in the Fabian Society back in the 80s and obviously one of Starmer's left-wing human rights laws. They even considered, Christian just brought this in, not banning the protests. Now, my problem is these are women simply saying our daughters are in danger. If a government, I'd love to know what the people think down there, if the government is saying actually we prefer to the rights of people coming here illegally to those women like your mother, that's appalling, isn't it?
Jeremy, I had to send an email yesterday to the council as a councillor to say, can you please cut down the bushes in the pathway towards the school because the children are telling me that men are hiding in there, and can you please patrol the area during school times? What has this country become? But to answer your question, I like to think that the judge is independent, but when you hear things like this, the public do not trust politicians, the public do not trust the police, and I think the judiciary, from the days of trying to stop Brexit right to now, I think we have activist judges, I'm afraid, in this country.
I don't disagree with you.
I think we have a serious problem now. If the public lose faith in the judiciary, which I fear they are slowly beginning to...
Why would they not?
Well, I think...
The Sri Lankan woman this morning, the asylum seeker, I can't go home, I'm too scared, I'm too depressed to fly.
Well, this is the problem.
Was thrown out, and the left-wing judges now went, I think she's got a reason.
See,
do me a favour.
The judiciary has to operate in a quasi-judicial manner. So this is the law, and you have to interpret it. And the reason why a judge has to be a human and it can't be done by AI is because every now and then the ancient laws don't match with the...
Change the statute book, then, if you're the government. It's honestly, the whole thing is tied in.
But circumstances, every now and then a human needs to go, actually, that old-fashioned law that was written in 1990s is totally unapplicable to this pathetic excuse that some outrageous lawyer is trying to fob on to a jury. And at some point, a judge has to go, no, no, no. Now, in the case of Epping, the idea that the suggestion may have occurred to stop the protesting, well, to me, that is like declaring World War III on your own population.
Absolutely,
because people have the right. I mean, I'm shocked to read this.
Consider a ban on protests and keep the hotel open. That was a... honestly, the thing... Am I allowed to... How old are you?
I'm 27.
You see, I'm told that everybody of my age feels the same way. I don't buy that at all. I think people across this country of all ages, and I keep saying it and I won't apologise, OK, I think we've always done our best, but because times are hard, because electricity, food, everything's going through the roof, taxation, we've got... I think people are going, hold on a minute. I mean, the stories we hear from people who've never asked for jack, right? Ask for a handout to get nothing, and they see these stories, and there's the danger as well. There's all of these things, and people have had enough. And I fear, I don't fear what's going to happen. I fear the government do not understand the depth, the strength, and the sheer volume of the frustration and anger the British people are feeling.
The best example I can give you is a couple of weeks ago during the protests in Epping. On the way back, there was a homeless gentleman outside a shop. And the march stopped, lots of people gave him money, and everyone went on. As a councillor, I thought, well, I can help this guy. I'll do my best. Now, I'm in a position to phone some senior people. I got senior people on the phone. Eventually, when they were being helpful, we managed to sort the situation out. But, that was not straightforward, and actually a bit of grit and determination on my behalf and waiting with the guy for 4 hours meant the guy got sorted.
Good man.
This is a citizen of our own country. Now, what I don't understand is literally 500 yards up the road was a hotel with illegal migrants in. And you just beg us the question, where is the state's priorities and loyalty? Because I'm afraid it's just not with the British people.
Every weekend, I won't tell you where I live, he's 14 years in the army. He's on the streets. There's 300 migrants in a hotel a mile away, and he looks at me and he goes, why did I give my time? I know we had to go, everything was back because Sadiq Khan screwed up the tubes in London. We love the fight that you're taking part in down there, and the people of Epping deserve so much more than a government that picks migrants over them, and this station certainly will will support you. And I don't think it's going to go away. Reform councils in Nottinghamshire have launched legal action against this government. It needs sorting, this problem, and we appreciate it. And give our love to your mum. She was brilliant.
I will. No, thank you guys here. And you know, there are not many media outlets that are doing the first-class work of exposing the truth. And the public just want to see the truth. And what Epping is doing, what the people of Epping are doing, are exposing the sheer incompetence of this government.
Couldn't
Thank
agree.
you for helping us do it.
No, we love to. Jamie McIver, Reform UK councillor in Epping. It was 8 o'clock. We're live across the UK. I don't even know if it's raining outside because the curtain's closed. News at 8. More of your calls, more of your guests. This is Morning Glory. And if you're just waking up, it's JK for MG. He's finally gone to bed in America.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Wake up to Jeremy Kyle. A couple of minutes after 8, we're live across the UK. Good morning, it's Morning Glory on Talk, the home of free speech and common sense. And MG, official breaking news, still in New York. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and he has gone to bed. The drinking has ceased for another 20 hours. He's been drinking for 20 hours. He's back on Thursday morning. Thank you so much indeed for tuning in. Before we get back to the politics and Starmer's birthday, and how Sadiq Khan screwed up the tubes in London and how Gloria... Why have I called her Gloria Raina? Angela Raina. What? Angela Raina is very, very dodgy. We just jokingly put out about half an hour ago, I got this email from an insurance company I use, that it's time for renewal of the contents and housing insurance, and the email came from Miss Safe. So I just asked for examples. Christian threw in his music teacher, Mr. G Sharp, and now it's gone barking mad. Steve, morning, guys. My wife had a friend called Jack. I swear to you his second name was Pot. That's fantastic. My daughter did a geography degree, and her tutor for studying volcanoes was Miss Ash. It's just... Morning. In Blackpool, we have a funeral directors round... No way, man. It's the Box brothers that living in a box. That's brilliant. That'll upset somebody. Yeah, we've done that one. Robin Banks, yeah, know that. Louise, I had neck surgery. No. The neurosurgeon was called Mr. Jellyneck. You can't be. No, Deb from Cambridge. The person at my school was Teresa Green. Yeah, absolutely. We've done that one before. Jackie, many years ago we had a financial advisor. Oh, Richard Turpin. That's brilliant. Datchet. Hello, Les. I know Datchet very well. I think it's being taken over by migrants. My first accountant was called Mr. Fiddler. I'm glad he was an accountant. Wendy's in Dover. She's going to tell me about her friend. No. My daughter's French teacher was Miss Flirt. Really? Collins in Doncaster. I remember a funeral directors in Hull called A Body. No, you can't. That's not happening. A Body. I don't believe it. Don, good morning. No, we're not doing that. Blake's in Wigan. Morning, Jez. I can see Rachel from accounts as Beyonce. I can just imagine her singing, "If you like it, I'm going to put a tax on it." Very good. Rachel from accounts. Colin in Edinburgh. My finance director was called Mr. Edward Bust. Eddie Bust. I like that. Who's this? Good morning, Jez. Luke from Blackburn. Happy birthday to 2TR. I imagine he will be spending his day surrounded by his cabinet of clowns at the circus that has now become our government. Emily's in Wiltshire. Rachel from accounts is only allowed to do PR interviews with kids because number 10 knows that adults wouldn't give her the time of day. And I will leave this now by giving the best one of the morning. When serving in Germany in the 80s, says this anonymous text, the station barber was called Matthias Kurt, or as we called him, Haircut. See what I did there? 8:05. We're live across the UK. It's Morning Glory. Maddie is celebrating our Prime Minister's birthday.
Morning, Jezza. This is Maddie from Essex. Couple of quickies. I think Lord Ali should get his mate Keir Starmer a personality transplant for his birthday. And considering, on another note, I'm an estate agent, I did once sell a property for a couple whose name was Mr. and Mrs. House. See ya. Bye.
Maddie, are you OK? She doesn't sound very happy, Maddie, does she? Come on, Mads. Come on, let's get her go. Right, listen, if you want to be on, we're here until 10. Julia from 10, of course, and Ian Collins, the housewife's choice, lighting up your afternoons in the most amazing way from 1 o'clock. 0344 499 1000, text to 87222. We say a very good morning. A top man from our favourite paper, the Deputy Political Editor of The Sun, fresh back from Ibiza, looking as hungover as anything. Ryan Saby, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy.
You're looking very smart, sir. Just out of bed or everything? You are. I can't take you seriously. I've seen all those videos. What are you talking about? Right. First of all, would you like to take the opportunity to say anything particular on Keir's 63rd birthday?
Well, of course, naturally just wish him a happy birthday, but I think he's got big headaches to deal with. Yesterday was sort of the pre-birthday warm-up, really, and decided to have a big shake-up of the whole operation. But whether it's enough to actually save the day, only time will tell. And,
I don't know if you've seen it, but this is an extraordinary video doing the rounds. If we could line it up, so. We've all got things that we want to talk about in terms of this government. There seems to be this belief that if you put out something on TikTok or you put something out, whatever, it's going to get a message across. Ryan, I know you probably would have seen this. I want to play this again. This is Keir Starmer, right, yesterday talking about a reset. This will absolutely blow your mind, peeps. Have a watch, have a listen.
Summer's definitely over, and this morning we've got all the number 10 staff together and talked through what phase 2 of the government is going to look like and feel like. So we go into phase 2, 1st of September 2025, in good spirits, confident and with conviction about what we're doing. It needs a more powerful number 10, so we've added to the team with some really important new members. I made a number of other changes, but this is about focus on delivery now, marching forward to the next phase of government.
I mean, Ryan, maybe I'm in the wrong job. That seems so unauthentic, so unorganic. It just seems staged and false, and nobody falls for that. He brought in a man who went on Question Time and said that the boats that were coming over were full of women and children. So he's a blatant liar anyway. The whole thing just seems like it's a bit amateurish.
Yeah, I just wonder whether actually the people in number 10 have had massive problems, whether it's the economy, whether it's small boats. And they just have days like yesterday where it's they call it a reset moment. but it's almost if they want to make them feel better about themselves and actually feel as if they're doing something, and moving a few pieces of the jigsaw or the chess set here or there just makes them feel like they're getting on with the job and it will be all right, and we've got a plan. It feels like they think they have a plan. I thought one of the interesting things yesterday was when Downing Street and the Prime Minister actually said we're moving on to phase 2 of this government. Well, is that an admission, a tacit admission, that phase 1 was an abject failure?
I completely agree, and I heard him say, you know, we need to make sure Downing Street's better. Well, why didn't you do that 12 months ago? Because from my point of view, and I think that leads on to Yvette Cooper, you know, I mean, it struck me that, love him or loathe him with Farage, that he's stolen every bit of the ear of the British public while everybody else has been on holiday. We'll talk about him and the deportation thing in a minute, but it's like they arrived back and thought, you know what we'll do with the British people? I'll put a stupid video out because that'll really impress them. No, it won't. And then straight away at the dispatch box, Yvette Cooper. She did this whole thing about, you know, we're on it, people are... On the 8th of August, she said, we're going to give you daily updates. We hadn't heard from the woman for 22 days. The truth of the matter is, the one glaring omission from what she said to the Commons yesterday was she didn't even mention 50,000 people have come over. And the Mail, I credit them actually, they went to the Home Office and got this figure right, because on the front of their paper today, the truth is, since she said we've made an agreement with the French, 1 in, 1 out, the truth is, front of the Mail, 3,567 in and 0 out.
Yeah, that's right. This deal that we struck with France, this 1 in, 1 out deal. Sir Keir Starmer stood there with Emmanuel Macron talking about it in July. It was actually ratified at the beginning of August. Now, we heard from Sir Keir Starmer saying this would be up and running, this pilot scheme would be up and running in short order. Well, we're now at the beginning of September, and this 1 in, 1 out scheme hasn't actually sort of really started. Now, the Home Office will say, well, we've detained people, but I haven't seen a list of people from France or some people been identified as those coming across. So it could well be, you know, take several more weeks for actually this scheme to actually get kick-started.
There just doesn't seem to be, I don't know, there just doesn't seem to be the impetus, the desire, the commitment to do the right thing. And they seem to be, I don't know, to me, I mean, look, the other great story of the day is Farage to Starmer. Have you read this today? This is absolutely brilliant. You know, love him or loathe him. There'll be plenty of people who don't think there's enough meat on the bone, don't think Farage has got the experience. But what he manages to do, I think, is grab people's attention. And I don't think it's all gimmicks. But I love this because he's accused, in front of the Express today, Farage, I'll get rid of you. He's accused Starmer of lying to the nation. Basically, he's hacked off because he hasn't had an invite to the state banquet when Trump comes, despite the fact he's a leader of a party. He said they wouldn't invite me. We're only 15 points ahead in the polls. I've known Trump personally as a friend for over a decade, but that shows you the attitude of this government. They're insulting. They talk down to me. They don't invite me to that. I wrote to him about members of the House of Lords. He doesn't even have the decency to reply. And I'd remind Sir Keir Starmer this morning, I got rid of David Cameron. I got rid of Theresa May. And if you go on being rude to me, says Nigel Farage, I'll get rid of you. What's your response to that, Ryan Sobey?
Yeah, I thought that was quite telling, actually, because Nigel Farage has basically dogged every single politician, Conservative politician, all the way through. You look at Brexit, you look at Theresa May trying to get that deal through. Absolutely, she failed catastrophically to do that. And he has got Keir Starmer in his sights. He's got this commanding poll lead. And I think one of the things that you mentioned there about the government not getting on with the small boats issue against Nigel Farage, I think that is just what this government is all about. It's sort of step by step, slowly. And I think the British public's patience has totally run out with
I'm not sure if it's slowly, or as I've been saying for about a year, I should say. It's not proactive, Ryan. It's reactive. And again, I go back to Farage, not because Farage, he might or might not be the answer, right? But the guy is in your ear. Reform are in your ear. Reform seem to be talking about the stuff that we want to talk about. Maybe it isn't all roses and whatever, but unless you address if you're stuck in an ideological space where you don't want to think that the British public are hacked off with immigration, they're hacked off with the justice system, they don't like the fact that a judge the other week put immigrants ahead of British people, they're hacked off that, you know, we don't seemingly look after the people who pay their tax, all those reasons that we talk about on this station, you write about every day. If you are showing you're listening to those people, you'll get their ear. He doesn't, Starmer. It's just not real. It's not organic. I don't buy it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the problems that Keir has got. So for every kind of policy that he comes up with, it just takes, you know, almost an age for it to come into practice. Now, I think that the benefit of not being in government and actually being able to sort of shout from the sidelines a little bit is that you have that little bit more freedom. Now, but at least Nigel Farage is coming up with those ideas, and whereas Sir Keir and Yvette Cooper are coming up, sort of tinkering around the edges with this massive problem that is now the immigration, the number one issue that is affecting the British people. Nigel Farage is talking tough, you know, detain and deport. That is his key sort of talking points about.
Look what it did. Love him or hate him, Trump, and I don't agree with everything the Orange Man baby's done, but what he said to the American people was this: this is the plan, this is what I'll do, and if you elect me, I will do it. I don't see that. You talked about how the freedom of not being in government. I completely agree. I think this Labour Party has realised that the view from the cheap seats ain't quite the same as being in power. However, where are the Tories? Kemi Badenoch still talking about, you know, we'll get to conference, and we had Mark Francois on, lovely guy, like him very much. We should be at conference, he said, I'm fingers crossed, we're doing a review, we should be saying we'll leave the ECHR. Reform was saying that a year ago. It's almost as if Farage is pushing, but leading the debate, for want of a better phrase. Whether he's right in the debate is another matter. In my mind, he's first out the blocks, and that garners response. Of course it does.
Yeah. And one of the big issues, as I mentioned, the European Convention of Human Rights. Farage says that he will leave that. Kemi Badenoch seems to have spent an absolute age discussing whether she won't or whether she will, and she'll probably discuss that in a few weeks' time at a party conference. But I think the interesting thing with the Labour Party, Keir Starmer and Downing Street are saying, look, we don't want to be targeted with the likes of Belarus or Russia, so we won't leave. There's a big review into applying.
Are they still using that excuse, Belarus and Russia? There are plenty of European countries that blatantly ignore the ECHR. Honestly, it's ludicrous, man.
I think the interesting thing is, on the Labour point of view, you've got people like Jack Straw, you had last week, Sir Malcolm Rifkind. You've got Labour MPs who are now saying, look, Nigel Farage is talking the language that we need to be talking about. We need to be talking about quitting this convention. So but again, it's exactly to your point, that this government is playing catch-up. They will eventually get there, but it's probably 6 months or a year later than what it should have been. And I come to your point about Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage in that Express interview today says that, you know, it's more than likely that she'll be out by Christmas because, you know, the Tory party and a lot of the MPs are just losing patience. If she's not out by the end of the year, you wait till those local elections come next May in Scotland and Wales. And he actually makes the point that the Conservative Party will actually cease to be a national party. And the way that it's heading...
I like Mark. I like Mark Francois, but he actually said earlier today to us, if it carries on, he said, the way it's going for this government, there's every likelihood after conferences and after elections that, and this is what he said, he said they could drop down to 15%. And I jumped straight in and went, so you'd finally be second again with 18? And he went, yeah. And I went, and Reform would be further in front. I agree with you. I don't think Badenoch has been vocal enough, detailed enough. I don't know. Maybe she was never seen as the right... I don't know. You'd have to ask from Nigel Farage's point of view to a political powerhouse like you, say Jenrick gets in. Doesn't that undermine to a degree something that Farage is doing, or will he also have to play catch-up? I've no idea. All I know is that we've got a sitting Prime Minister who doesn't seem to understand the depth of frustration. We've got an opposition that spent 12 months looking in the mirror. I'm not bothered about the Greens who are having a leadership, and I'm talking about a party... It doesn't have to be the answer, but they are winning the vocal debate by a mile.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is if you get someone like Robert Jenrick leading the Conservative Party, I think they're obviously talking, you know, pretty much the same sort of language. And I actually think with someone like Robert Jenrick, as opposed to Kemi Badenoch, he'll just be more visible. I barely feel like I've seen Kemi Badenoch over the past 6 weeks or so. Now, I know that Parliament was in recess and that, but look what Nigel Farage has done. He's set the political weather over the past...
He's setting the agenda, Ryan. You're dead right. He is setting the agenda every single day. And we had Sarah Potion on the other day. When you consider, and people can say, oh, yeah, there's only 4 of them. Only 4 of them, and they are leading the political debate. I mean, Kemi Badenoch's got 121 of them. Labour have got nearly 400, I think. I mean, it tells you everything. Can I just talk to you about the other big Labour story today from your point of view? Angela Raina. All this furore, quite rightly, by the way, about her tax affairs and 3 properties and, you know, hold on a second, you're a working-class girl whose whole story was coming from, you know, a single mum who made it all the way to Downing Street. I love the story, right? But, you know, hypocrisy is a terrible thing to be accused of, but many people believe they can. She's blamed a confidential court order from preventing her disclosing details of her complex tax affairs. Now, maybe I'm being cynical. I smell a rat, Ryan Saby.
Yeah, I was sat there in Downing Street yesterday when this news emerged that there was this court order that actually stops her from talking about it, and I think it actually may stop her from actually talking to people in government about it due to the nature of that court order. Now, I'm told on pretty good authority that she is working towards changing the mechanisms of that court order to actually explain what has gone on in her property affairs. But it does seem convenient politically that she may be able to hide behind this at the moment. So let's, hopefully within days, weeks, I don't think this is going to go on for months or longer than that she's actually going to go back to the court, change this court order, and then give a full explanation. Because the trouble is, the longer this goes on, you get the stench of the council tax affairs, the property affairs, the tax affairs will just go on. So actually, I think it'll be in her interest to change this. If it is, the judge says that the court order is changed, that she can give a full explanation of what actually has happened.
It's the old story, though, and you've done this far longer than I. Are you that naive to think that if you put your head above the parapet and pontificate to millions of people, that you are not going to have the light shone back on you unless you are, if there's nothing, grand. But, somebody once said to me, and you do this for a living, you could do an article in a newspaper on anybody in the world, right? So what I want from my politicians, I don't expect squeaky clean perfection. I actually would prefer people to be honest at the outset, a bit like Trump, and go, couple of flaws, made a couple of mistakes, but here I am putting myself... And that's something that can happen. But, yeah, it'll be really, really interesting. Ryan, you're such a good man. Thank you, as ever, for joining us. Ryan Saby, Deputy Political Editor from The Sun, top man. More on Raina, by the way, after the break. On today's Sun columnist, Ross Clark. And some more news about Yvette Cooper. I can't stop these wonderful, wonderful examples. It all started because Christian had a music teacher called Mr. G Sharp, and I've got an insurance broker called Miss Safe. You think I'm joking? Chris in Northwich said there was a policeman at Stockport called PC Basham. I kid you not. Brilliant. Gazza's in... I need to say, yeah, I do Gaza, the way it's spelled that. Gazza's in Yorkshire. Good morning. A doctor's surgery near me is called the Kilmany surgery. The Kilmany. Kilmany. My wife's maiden name was... No way! Russ says, my wife's maiden name was Colgate. She's a dental nurse. Carol's in Shoreham by Sea. Oh, I see. I've just ordered some more England memorabilia, flags, pin badges, magnets, especially as unpatriotic, weak, spiteful people have removed our national flags from a few lampposts. They're just hateful and don't understand that by raising the colours in such numbers, we are taking back our St George's flag, which belongs to all patriots and people of this country. Have a good day. Sounds like Mike certainly is. Shoreham-on-Sea. One of the senior members of Guernsey... This is ridiculous. One of the senior members of Guernsey's Finance Authority in the 2000s, the late 2000s, were called Mr Crook. I love that. David from famous Fightback Epping. I worked in the council tax office whose manager was called Robin Barstead. No, it can't be. Robin Barstead. Brilliant. For Starmer... No, I'm not doing that one. Right, it's 8:23. I need a wee. If you want to be on, 0344 499 1000 is my telephone number. Damien, in between making tea and running around like a headless chicken, will take your calls, and you can text to 87222. And coming up, Sun columnist Ross Clark on Morning Glory. Back in 3.
would you choose to replace Keir Starmer?
Well, there's three candidates, just hedging my bet. I mean, it's Angela. If Angela's the favourite, then Wes Streeting's the other one, and the third one, who's slightly less obvious to your viewers, I'm sure, is Shabana Mahmood. Those are the three that I think have the best political instincts. I have my preferences, but I'm not going to reveal because I'll probably change in 3 months' time anyway. but those are the three.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Morning Glory, 8:27. I'm refreshed. I've run down the corridor, had a wee, and the world's a much better place. Thank you for all your text messages. Keep them coming, 87222. Start your message with the word talk. Margaret, birthday present for Starmer, a Mystic Meg crystal ball. Oh, Keir, I can see your toast. Pick up your P45 and leave the keys to number 10 at the door and take the hammer with you. I don't know why I've done an impression of Mystic Meg, because that didn't sound like Septic Peg, in my opinion. Debbie, has nobody asked to see the Raina court order, or did journalists just take the government's word? Very interesting point. Should have said that. John in Upminster, without an H, slightly dodgy, he says, I promise you, right, my son is a firefighter and his name is Sam and our surname is Hose. Make sure it doesn't get out. Now, this is a bit too intelligent for me. Jeans in Ongar, the local library, had a shortage of books. True. The local paper headline read, lack books in Ongar. Brilliant. Monzy in Hove, by the way, he says, absolutely no bleeding sign of Ange this morning. 828 0344 499 1000. Now, there's obviously been, Christian's right, there seems to have been a diktat from number 10. First day back, let's talk about immigration. We didn't give any numbers, but we've done that. Now, the next thing is today, I want you all out there talking about how important the flags are. We've had Starmer this morning saying, well, I've got one upstairs in my apartment. You haven't, have you? We've now had the Home Secretary, the woman who is responsible for, ready for this? Where's my newspaper? The new policy of getting rid of migrants. So far, in the last 4 weeks, 3,567 in and bugger all out. No, she's moved on from that yesterday. Today, obviously, she's been sent out to go on about, I love flags. I've got bleeding flags everywhere. Listen to Vet Cooper on BBC Breakfast earlier. Have a listen.
We actually have Union Jack bunting on our garden shed at the moment. I've got St George's flags, I've got St George's bunting, I've got the Yorkshire Rose bunting as well. I've got Union Jack flags and tablecloths. We've got the lot. I've even actually got some Yorkshire tea bunting, which is probably taking things a bit far.
But you haven't, have you? I mean, what? Sorry, I know I'm sounding like a broken record. Another disingenuous, unorganic pile of poo. Why is it that politicians again believe that we are intelligent or lacking in intelligence enough to go, yeah, I believe her? Do you know what? Absolutely. She's been away for 6 weeks and honestly, all she's thought about is flags. Because them silly councils that are Labour, who say take your flags down. See, if I was a politician, I'd get to my office yesterday morning and I'd get onto those councils and I'd ban them from banning the flag, not sitting on some breakfast show with a bunch of people who don't bully each other. That's a vicious rumour. Would just be going, oh, I've got... What's she talking about? Oh, I've got Yorkshire tea with... Oh, get lost, honestly, 8:30. I can't be doing with it. 87222, start your message with the word talk and call me 0344 499 1000. We say a very good morning. It's page 10. The legend, Ross Clark, columnist in The Sun. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Jeremy.
I'm losing the will to live here. I should start with you as I should start with everybody. It's Keir Starmer's 63rd birthday. Do you want to say anything to him?
Not especially. No, well, happy birthday. I don't begrudge him a good birthday, but I wish he wasn't running the country, so put it that way.
No, very true. An extraordinary day yesterday. We had the Home Secretary came up and said we're going to sort out immigration, didn't give any numbers. It was the Mail had to contact the Home Office to discover that 3,567 had come in. None had gone out. We had Nigel Farage brilliantly attacking Starmer, saying, I've got rid of Cameron and I'm going to get rid of you if you don't start being a bit more respectful. Your party, your story column in the Sun's Day on page 10, fantastic, Ross. Working class Ange has turned into the capitalist scum she claims to detest. I could not agree with that headline more. I don't know what you think, but I remember when she started out and I thought, what a great story. But she's betrayed through sheer hypocrisy the very people who put her there, hasn't she?
Well, exactly. I remember Angela Raina was sort of leading the charge against Tory sleaze when she was in opposition. She memorably called the Tory ministers scum, Etonians and a waste of space and everything else. And yet when she gets into power, I mean, she sort of behaves in exactly the same way as the people she's been criticising. Now, I mean, she's avoided this stamp duty bill by removing her name from her property in Greater Manchester, so she could, the new flat in Hove could be her main home, and therefore reduce her stamp duty bill from 70,000 to 30,000, £40,000 tax saving there, in tax avoidance, if you like. It's legal. She hasn't done anything legal, and all her people will say is, oh, it's within the rules. Nothing she did was illegal, but that's not the point. Remember the MP's expenses scandal of 2009. Few of what they did was illegal. A few ended up in jail, but mostly it was entirely legal, but it wasn't right, and that's the point.
And I think I think the point that's so readily made in your excellent column this morning is that if you, I said it earlier, if you put your head above the parapet and you stand on that ticket of, it's for the working people, it's for fairness, old posh boys with their noses in the trough. It turns out, darling, that you're as bad as the very people that you criticised. And those are the sorts of messages that don't go away. I said when Starmer came to power and he tried to screw the farmers and he tried to screw the pensioners. I don't care if you waited 4 years, those pensioners who are still alive will not forget that man took away the heating allowance. Farmers, I read a story yesterday that not one farmer will vote for Labour in the next election because they are trying to take away their livelihoods. And I suspect that people will look, quite rightly at your article today, they will look at this woman and go, you don't represent us. Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, well, this is the problem, isn't it? I mean, the thing is, Angela Raina seems to think that she can get away with this because she's the working class girl who's made good, sort of brought up in a poor council home and was a single mother at 16 and then became Deputy Prime Minister at the age of 44. Very, very impressive, her achievements in that. And let's not take that away from her. But I'm sorry, but it does not gain her immunity from, the same kind of criticism that applies that she was applying to other people. It stinks what she's done. She's part of a government which is absolutely delighting in raising taxes for the rest of us, and yet she found this wheeze where she could avoid £40,000 in tax, and that is not right, and people can tell it's not right. And I'm sorry for this story. It's not going to go away.
It's not going to go away, and I look with sort of open mouth, shocked every day now that these people cannot read the room, Ross. That she cannot understand. I mean, we've had today, I can't say anything because there's a gagging order, right? Yeah. And presumably at some point some lawyer's going to be wheeled out who will say there's a gagging order from my divorce or whatever. But if you're any good at this job, that would have been part of the announcement, or that would have come, because people will go, well, you've just said that now because the story's out there. This government, to me, the biggest failing of this government, well, the biggest failing is they haven't got any policies, but the biggest failing in terms of presentation, I've said it every day, it's not proactive. They're a reactive government. They're behind the 8 ball. And that sticks in people's minds. Miles. That is what people will go, oh, so they're not going to go, oh, they changed the heating allowance when there was an outcry. They'll go, no, they tried to screw us. They'll go, oh, Angela Rayner's now told us 4 weeks down the line that there's a gagging order. Well, she could have said at the time, this story's going to come out. There's a reason legally I can't talk about it. I'll talk about it when I can.
Yes, and I mean, the thing is, we know that so many of the details now, don't we? She hasn't disclosed them. We've found, reporters have found it out, and we know about this stamp duty thing. I mean, there are details around why her, why her name was removed from the deeds of the Greater Manchester House. Seems to be something about possibly putting the house in trust for children. But, we know so many damaging details anyway. I mean, what she's guilty of is flipping her properties. Now, that is what MPs were caught out doing in 2009, deciding which of their properties would be, deciding 1 week, one property would be their main home, another week they'd decide another property would be their main home for tax purposes, and that's what she has been doing.
Couldn't agree more. It's an excellent, excellent article, Ross, and we so appreciate you being on Breakfast. Read it, page 10, The Sun, Ross Clark, The Columnist, 8:37. Oh, dear. Oh, God. Jez, twice today you said Mrs. Ball said she'd give us daily updates on the situation with the migrants. She didn't say daily, she said regular. They haven't given any updates at all because she's done sod all. This is good. Joanna from Salisbury with an H. Very posh. Jez, Nigel's not been invited to Trump's dinner. You know what would be great, she said, if President... This is true. This is on the front page of the Express. Nigel Farage has thrown a... Well, he's had a go at the Prime Minister and gone, you haven't responded to my letter about Piers, you haven't had the decency, you're rude, and you haven't invited me to the state dinner of Trump, despite the fact that I am a party leader. That's a great point, Joanna. Wouldn't it be great if Trump, who's mates with Farage, just invited him anyway? That'd really hack them off, wouldn't it? She said there's a spare seat going because Ed Davy's not going. I don't know if you heard the news, Ed Davy. It was an astonishingly crap video that we played yesterday. Ed Davy spoke to God. Of course he did. And God said, don't go to Trump's dinner. So Ed Davy and his wife are not going. I don't care. Good morning to Dean from Dagenham. And if you thought your morning couldn't get any better, ladies and gentlemen, or indeed any worse, after this break, the story that is guaranteed to send me through the roof, where I will remain for the rest of the day hanging upside down. We'll tell you how a Sri Lankan mother who entered Britain has won her appeal for asylum to be reheard, having been thrown out by a judge. And do you know her reason for not being able to go home? She's too depressed to fly. I'll be back in 3.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. It's 20 to 9. I promised one thing to Michael, and I shall promise to you. I've always been incredibly transparent about this show. So we've got this great story, and we had a human rights lawyer lined up. Good friend of mine, Ivan Sansom. He's dropped. Now, I'm not saying there's a reason that he's dropped, because he couldn't possibly defend this. Maybe he's very busy in transit. I wouldn't say that. I'm just going to tell you. A Sri Lankan mother, ladies and gentlemen, just waking up, just tuning in. If you're having a really bad morning, you're stuck in a traffic jam, the kids are playing up, I don't know, you can't pay the bills, the shopping's too expensive, you had an argument with the other half, married life. A Sri Lankan mother has won a reprieve in a battle to defy asylum claims, basically saying, I know I lost the first time, I need you to understand it's very, very difficult for me to go back to Sri Lanka because I support the Tamil Tigers, who of course are part of an uprising there and have been. She said, my problem is the impact that's had. I'm depressed, so I can't go back, I'm depressed. Now initially a judge with a couple of brain cells went, listen, we all should be very open about mental health, but I do believe that you're using this as an excuse, love. How many kids has she got? 5. Not that I can judge. Anyway, she appealed, and the appeal court judge, who presumably maybe works with Lord Justice Bean, the guy that did the Epping disaster, has said, no, it's actually understandable. We shouldn't be putting pressure on this woman because of her mental health, and we should allow her case to be heard and let her stay here. I don't know how long it'll take for the case to come back, probably another 12 years. So there you are. People are now allegedly using mental health as a reason not to fly home, which you can get, from me, a very serious point of view. To me, it insults the very people who are mentally ill and haven't been able to talk about it and keep fighting on. I'm not, you know, people will jump up and down and say, you're being very rude. She could be depressed. She wasn't depressed, though, was she, when she stayed here? She's got depressed because she can't go, apparently, yeah. You're too depressed to fly? Go on a boat, then. Go hitch, then. I don't know. 0344 499 1000. Good God. Sri Lankan mother. I'm sorry, I'm depressed. I don't want to go home. Imagine getting up this morning. Sorry, Christian, what's going on? Well, I'm not in. Why are you not in? I'm depressed. What do you mean you're depressed? I'm depressed. I'm not doing the show today. No, I'll tell you what, let's all bugger off because we're depressed. Let's just leave complete no air, nobody here. The audience will be bigger. I'm only jesting. I'm not, I'm telling the truth. Let's go to, where are we going? We're going to, I never can't see this, Sussex. Anne, good morning. Welcome to Morning Glory. How are you?
Good morning. Just listening to you, I was going to offer you therapy. I thought you might explode.
Oh, personal? Of course.
No, sorry, Jeremy. The reason I rang...
Well, hold on a second. Whoa, slow it. No. Listen, if you were listening at 6 o'clock, Blexley did explode. It is Starmer's 63rd birthday, Anne, and for every person coming on, we are giving them the opportunity to send a birthday message to our uninspiring leader. What would you like to say?
I want to say I am absolutely sick of hearing that Angela Raina grew up in a council house and she's working class. She's not working class. Working class was growing up in a house I was in care, where it was damp, no bathroom, no hot water, no lovely garden. The council houses were like palaces around me in Brighton, and I would love to have lived in one. The real poverty is something Angela Raina doesn't really know about, because we're in a council house, you had rights. If the door was leaky or anything, you could go and get it fixed by the local authority. I'm sorry, I'm sick of her maligning, anyway, other people in council houses who don't see it as an excuse to say, oh, you know, I'm just a poor, ordinary girl. For heaven's sake, I've had enough of her.
I think the point is, and very quickly, and I really appreciate your call, I don't mind aspiration. In fact, aspiration is what made this country great, and also people who build businesses and are aspirational pay more tax to the exchequer, for Christ's sake, and employ people. It's just that when you pontificate and pass judgment and spend your entire time saying, oh, the Tory scum, they've got 2 houses, they're this, they're that, and then it turns out that you're as bad, then you're in trouble. Anne, thank you so much indeed for your call. So much to talk about this morning. Are we going to do this story now very quickly or after the break? What are we doing? Christian's looking at me like I've landed from Mars. Hello, Christian. After the break. OK, it's 7:45 if you want to be on. Oh, hello. This is great. Robin Dorset. We had a safety rep at our chemical factory called Don Trisket. Don Trisket. Don't risk it. You see what he did there? It's very clever. This is Morning Glory.
completely out of touch, Julia. They're not listening, they're not understanding, they're not engaging. I mean, it's not just Epping, this is up and down this country. Every town, every city, protests, people out putting flags up saying we've had enough, we don't want this anymore, please listen to us. Our rights are being put on the back burner. Our rights don't matter as much as the rights of migrants that are coming into the country.
Well, you were told that by the Home Office lawyer in the
Yes.
Court of Appeal. Literally said that.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Goodness me, we're back. It's 11 minutes to 9. Julia is here from 10. So much to cram in the next hour and 10. More messages, more on Yvette Cooper, who sadly is surrounded by so many flags and bunting. It's like Silver Jubilee Day. We say a very good morning to Morris Cousins. Morris, it says here pronounced Morris. Morris, good morning. How are you? Campaign director of Net Zero Watch, my favourite man in the world.
Good morning, Jeremy. How are you?
Nobody on Morning Glory believes that your son Robin was at the ice skate. I'm joking. Now listen, let's cut to the chase because we ain't got much time. Kemi Badenoch, who's playing catch-up with Nigel Farage, is today going to make a speech where she's going to say, and I quote, Labour is treating the North Sea as a relic of the past. We need to drill, baby, drill. I would put to you, yes, that is absolutely true. And on the day that the Greens announced their new leadership, sod the Friends of the Earth. But to me, politically, it's another example of Kemi Badenoch playing catch-up because Farage has said all of this already, hasn't he, Morris?
He certainly has. What I would also say, I think we should sort of zoom out and we should congratulate her for actually coming out on this. I mean, I know how frustrating it is. Somebody who was very, very critical of the Conservatives over 14 years for their policies on oil, domestic oil and gas. But you know, it is important that we have senior figures across the political spectrum coming out and adopting energy realism. And yes, it absolutely is true that Nigel Farage has been, you know, at the vanguard of a lot of this. But I would also remind people that when Kemi was running for her first leadership bid back in, I think it was 2022, she was somebody who'd often spoken out against what she called unilateral economic disarmament.
I'm not. By the way, let me say this: I'm not pontificating or saying that that Farage is right. What I'm saying is there's a narrative here. She is right about this. She's also absolutely right about other things. This morning, Mark Francois, one of her MPs, said that he believes at the party conference they'll come out and say the ECHR. What I'm saying is, from a leader's point of view, she needs to have been quicker off the mark to win the argument in the minds and in the ears, if you like, of the British people.
Absolutely, and it's very frustrating that, you know, we are now sort of in September and she was made leader back in November, and you know, this is the first major real announcement on policy relating to sort of energy that we've sort of heard. But you know, we should you know, as I say, we should welcome it. You know, it's important. I think that, you know, there's some context for some of your listeners and viewers that. You know, that the UK really is an outlier here when it comes to the North Sea. You know, both Norway and the Netherlands are exploiting are the ones that are sort of exploiting their oil and gas reserves for their own national benefit, and we are sort of maddeningly sort of trying to adopting a policy of sort of keep it in the ground, making ourselves reliant on other countries, exporting our national wealth at a time when we actually need to retain more of our wealth. We're transferring wealth to countries like Qatar and the United States and Norway.
Absolutely.
It makes absolutely no sense. Previous generations of sort of politicians really understood the importance of energy and took it as a proxy for sort of power and wealth, whereas in more recent decades ours have been far more complacent and don't appear to have put the national interest first.
It's refreshing working on a station like this to know that we have for 3 years spoken about the problems of immigration, the problems with net zero, all sorts of problems. And finally, it seems that politicians, and you're right, the more people across the political spectrum, Maurice, who come out and speak about these things, then that is a very useful point. I'm sorry it's a real quick one today, but you are the font of all information on everything net zero. We love having you on the show. Thank you. Maurice, very good man. Maurice Cousins, campaign director of Net Zero Watch, who also, like us, thinks that M. Millipede is a nightmare. 7 minutes to 9. Good morning to June. What's the betting the Sri Lankan mother? This is brilliant. You might have just tuned in. If you haven't, there's a Sri Lankan woman this morning who's not going to go home because she's too depressed to fly. June says, what's the betting the Sri Lankan mother will feel well enough to go home for a visit? By air and then come back. Yeah, probably. Food depressed to fly. Too depressed to fly. Easy answer. Send her back, says Eric from Port Talbot. Why did I do accent? On a boat. Jez, if the Labour government wants to close the hotels, why don't they introduce a House of Migrants scheme like we did for the Ukrainians? I've seen some amazing footage where all those left-wing media, they go to those protests and they're not left-wing, right, the media go to the protest, all these people going, save all the people. And they go, would you have one in your house? And they go, well, I would, but I haven't got much space, I'm afraid. Sean, on Starmer's 63rd birthday, has important words.
Morning, Jeremy. Sean from Leicester. Oh, my God. It's my birthday today as well.
Oh.
How dare Starmer share the same day as me? Anyway, I'm 59. The sun is out. And regardless of what Labour are doing to the country, I'm going to have a good day. Great show, buddy. Catch you later.
I love that. I love the fact that he's annoyed about the fact that it's his birthday, the same day as Keir Starmer. Are we going to the sportsman now? We are indeed. It's 5 to 9. We're cramming it all in. Push the button. Let's do the professional
90
bit.
minutes in 90 seconds. From The Sun.
Lloyd Canfield, what does Chelsea FC reporter for The Sun mean? Do you only report on Chelsea?
I do a bit of everything, but mostly Chelsea. That's the team I cover the most.
This is going to annoy the bit. They've done this deliberately, right? So my wife's family are true Chelsea fans, and there is an ongoing battle. Her brothers and her dad and her mother, oh, blue is the colour, football, get lost. And now they're trying to indoctrinate my 6-year-old Oliver. And so I say to Oliver, West Ham or Chelsea? And he goes, Chelsea, obviously the kit's better, or something like that. So they've given me a Chelsea supporter. You're going to tell me an inordinate amount of money is spent in the transfer window, more in the Premier League than the entirety of Europe.
Exactly, and that's become a common theme. It's Liverpool who have spent the most, adding Alexander Isak for £130 million to their £426 million summer spending spree. They've already signed a number of players, and adding probably the best striker in the Premier League to that is just going to make them even more unstoppable. They're already top of the Premier League, so things are just getting better for them, it seems.
It's interesting, isn't it? I was saying yesterday, Lloyd, as a football fan, and don't laugh, I'm a West Ham fan. If you smile, you're out of here. Look at that face.
Sorry.
You know, he is laughing, just a little smirk there at the side of his face. It's interesting to me, I think football teams have periods where they dominate. You had the Invincibles of Arsenal, you had Man United under Fergie for many, many years. You had Man City under Guardiola, who I think will go, and I'm being serious. It strikes me, not just through the buying, the way they win games when they're not playing at their best. We have Liverpool now. I think they will dominate for a few years, which probably goes against what you'd hope for, because you've been trying to buy the title for years, haven't you, Chelsea?
We have, yeah. It's not quite working out for us. We did win the Champions League in 2021 and the Club World Cup this year, of course. But Liverpool,
that, you see, as a Chelsea fan.
They just seem too good this season, I think. And adding Isak to that, and they've already got Ekitike, who started really brightly. They look like they are going to be unstoppable this season. The game against Arsenal at the start of the season showed that they can win when they perhaps don't deserve it. Yeah. But they just have been so good. And they did miss out on Mark Gahey to give them a bit of defensive coverage for Ibrahima Konate, but they've got such a good team, it's going to be tough for anyone to get close to them this season.
It's really interesting. So much money spent. You like I, believe that Liverpool are in the box seat. What about Chelsea on a serious note? Maresca winning 2 titles in his first season. There's been this huge turnover of staff. They seem to now have players of a certain age. There seems to be a concentration. Do you see them as genuine Premier League title contenders this season or not, Lloyd?
I wouldn't say, I don't want to put too much pressure on them as kind of title contenders, but I think with the amount of money that they've spent and the amount of money they've bought in this window especially, they've done a brilliant job of selling players as well as buying them. But I wouldn't say they're title contenders yet, but I'd say they definitely need to be around there in the next...
Do you think initially when the money arrived, it was a bit like Man City, who in early days when I think, you know, Mark Hughes was there and other players, it seemed to be that Man City bought players just so other teams wouldn't get them. Do you think there's been a bit of that at Chelsea with respect?
I don't think so necessarily. I think it's more they've got a certain profile of player that they're after, these young kind of typically South American or players that come from Brighton. They like those kind of players.
South American or South Coast. Absolutely. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. They like players that they can have at the club, develop. If they don't turn out to be good enough, they'll then sell them for a profit. And that's what we saw a lot of this transfer window. No better example than that than with Nicholas Jackson, who on Saturday he was going on loan to Bayern Munich, one of the biggest loan fees in history. I think it was the 4th biggest. And then after the game on Saturday, when Liam Delap, another young striker that they'd signed for a cheap fee, got injured, and it was like, oh, Nicholas Jackson's coming back. There's no way he's allowed to go to Bayern. And then by Monday evening, yesterday, he was holding up a Bayern Munich shirt, and he's gone there for now a record loan fee. So Chelsea have managed to get an even better deal out of Nicholas Jackson.
Lloyd, you're top man, Lloyd Canfield. Despite the Chelsea connection, I haven't got long, so you've got to be very specific. Do you think that West Ham will finish in the top 10 of the Premier League?
No.
Do you think they'll be relegated?
Maybe.
I don't ever want you on the show again. I hope Chelsea fail miserably. What a top man. He's got no career at all now. No, he's a good man. Lloyd Canfield, Chelsea FC reporter. We're live across the UK. It's Morning Glory, JK4MG. The news on 9 on the way. And then we've got some amazing footage of our Home Secretary, who apparently now is just bunting crazy.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hallelujah! You've only got an hour today and 4 hours tomorrow, and then the main man's back. He's in New York. I'm going to say this. He's on an important break. You will, maybe you will or you won't know. Mike and I have launched a new show. I'm going to say it's one night only. I'm going to say that. It's called The World of Common Sense. You see it on screen or you've heard about it. It's at the Shepherd's Bush Empire, Saturday the 15th of November. It's almost sold out. There are 1 or 2 tickets left, I'm being told. We're trying to keep in line with this. You can get them from Ticketmaster.com. You can go to the Ticketmaster app. The link's on my Instagram, at jcarlofficial. It's on Mike's Twitter as well. We really want you to be there. There's a couple of fantastic guests I'm going to announce on tomorrow's show before Mike comes back on Thursday. Lots of surprises. It's the theatre. I'll tell you where it is. It's that theatre in Shepherd's Bush where Terry Wogan made all those shows. Oh, Terry Wogan. Where did that come from? So we're going to do that. Now, I'm slightly dubious. I'd love to see you there, so please do come. And do not come up to me in this building and go, can I have a freebie? No. The only person who's getting a free ticket is Christian. And maybe Damien. Oh, and basically, I'm going to give them all away. No, I'm joking. Go and buy a ticket. Now, I'm slightly dubious about this voice note because sitting in for the great man, Pete has got a voice note about Mike Graham. I'm going to be slagged. Go.
Morning, Jez. Pete from Lancashire again. Glad to see Graham's gone to bed. He's done too much drinking over there, mate, hasn't he? Anyway, this business about Nigel not being invited to the state banquet, I can see Trump trumping Starmer and saying Nigel will be there. How funny would that be, mate? Because when he stood next to someone like Trump, he just looks like a little boy anyway, doesn't he? Anyway, great show. Take care. Bye.
Well, that worked out better than I thought. Basically, this is because Mike Graham is in New York, right? And honestly, I keep getting messages. Doesn't go to bed. They're 5 hours behind. He went to bed this morning at 3 a.m. I mean, honestly, I think if he carries on like this, it'll be a while till he gets some blood back in his alcohol stream. Right, it's 9:05. So 0344 499 1000. God, he deserves a break. Now, my next guest is a man who... I was on air on drive time as the smoke came out of the papal chimney. And he was perfect because I think he'd make a great Pope. Benedict XV. Benedict Spence, Conservative commentator. What's happened to the hair this morning? What's happened to this? It's all a bit bouffant this morning, Benedict, isn't it?
Normally you talk to me in the afternoon where I've had sort of time to rise at about 2 and sort of slowly get myself together. Whereas, in the morning, actually, I'm slightly less... put together.
It strikes me or sounds to me like in the afternoon one's in the drawing room taking the afternoon race. You sound like you're in the crapper this morning. I mean, where are you, man? You seem to be posing, sitting down in a slightly sort of place that's got voices all over the place. Are you all right?
I'm actually in someone else's house, which is an unusual set of circumstances for me. But we won't delve too much into that.
No, we certainly will. We asked you, did you spend last night at a female's house and are currently about to do the walk of shame? You said no. Were you lying, Benedict Spence?
Walk of shame? Do you think I ever walk with shame? Don't be ridiculous.
So you did stay with a young lady last night?
Oh no, not at all. Actually, no,
not at all. Actually, I was at a grouse shoot up in Norfolk, and we had a couple of snifters, and some bugger said, "Stay in my spare room, B. You don't want to be caught by the old coppers on the way home in the Jag." We love having you on the show. Let's start by your own personal message, please, to our esteemed Prime Minister on his 63rd birthday.
What are you still doing here? What is the point of you? That would be my message. He's relaunched his premiership after a year, having done such a good job with the first year of his administration. And famously, sequels are always so much better than the first installation. I have not got high hopes, but I hope he has a nice day in front of his England flag, which he claims he has hanging in his flat.
Great timing. So there obviously has been a diktat, you see what I did there, from Downing Street to come back from your holidays and let's tackle the two things that matter. Yesterday we're going to go straight in with immigration. We're going to tell the people, go on Yvette, get to the dispatch box, talk about all the things you're going to do. And you've done that, but you didn't mention, did you, how many people have come in since you took power, which is 50,000. You also didn't mention that since you and the leader stood with little Macron and went, no, they're not French. We have an agreement with the French, one in, one out. It's not really true, is it, Yvette? Because what you didn't mention, front of the Mail today, is since you had that meeting with the man from France, it's 3,567 in and absolutely nobody out. It's not really working, is it, Benedict, to be fair?
It's not, and you'd have thought that a one-in, one-out system, which, let's be clear, doesn't make any sense to begin with because we still end up taking lots and lots of people.
It's not going to negate the number we've got, is it? It's just going to stay level.
Yeah, you'd have thought at the very least that simple mathematical equation, they'd be able to work out. One comes in, one comes in. Now, nice and simple. Even Yvette Cooper can do that. Even Rachel Reeves could do that some.
Oh, well.
Apparently not. No, they can't. Who knows? Maybe these people are just stuck in a holding pattern over Calais. But I suspect that's not the case, and I suspect that, as usual, somebody has pulled a fast one over us. You know, Labour like to complain about the Rwanda scheme, about how Kagame was pulling the wool over our eyes because it was costing us billions to send nobody there at all. Well, this seems to be a very similar sort of thing. At the very least, Rwanda logistically was difficult to send people to. It was a long way away. France is right there, and we can't get around
Well,
it.
I must say, Mrs. Balls, as I like to call her, won't come on this programme. So she was on BBC Breakfast. They stopped fighting each other and put it on. This is her this morning when quizzed about how many returns to France will actually happen. Have a listen, have a watch.
It'll only be the first phase, and we need to build this.
Okay, but how many?
What we're doing is there is not. We're basically providing reports step by step as we do so. We're doing the opposite of what the previous government did with their Rwanda scheme. It needs to build step by step, but that is how you deliver results. You start and you build something and you make things work step by step. That's how you get results in the end, not by making grand sweeping promises that actually people never deliver and end up undermining trust. And I think we've seen rather too much of that from opposition parties who are just doing effectively shouting at the sea rather than what are the practical steps we're going to take.
Benedict, forgive me if I'm missing the point here. Grand sweeping promises that do nobody a favour. We're going to smash the gangs.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Exactly what came to my mind. It's like grand sweeping promises. I wonder who that could be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's your Prime Minister. But, I mean, the thing is, nobody's asking for grand sweeping promises. They're just asking for her to answer the question, which she also didn't do. She doesn't have to say X, Y, Z thing will happen by a certain day, but at least give us, you know, an objective, an aim. And then, at the very least, if you then turned around and said, well, I aim to deport, say, 50,000 people, but there's this to consider. So, you know, we're not holding exactly fast to that, but we hope to get it done by this day. That's not a grand sweeping promise, that's an objective. But she didn't even do that. She just sort of obfuscated and said, oh, you have to build things like I'm a Lego salesman.
I thought that. What is this? Bloody Lego? Completely with you. We're on the same wavelength.
She thinks that we're all fools, basically. She thinks that we will sit there and go, yes, that she's talking to us like she's some sort of engineer, very smart person, and, you know, these things take time. Just give us a few figures, just give us a ballpark idea, you know, just some idea to...
And you can't, because you know full well that goes against the pathetic argument you've just made. Now, you touched upon this. There's obviously, I've said it already, a diktat from number 10. Get back, get out there and do immigration. And then what I want you all to do, come on, everybody, I want everybody to give the impression that they love the British flag, because there's some rubbish going on in the country. People are painting roundabouts and all sorts of things, because some bloody left councils, they're yours, you idiot, are banning people. So Starmer did this interview. I'm not even going to play it. He went, we've got a flag in number 10 in the flat. That was bad enough until BBC Breakfast, also this morning, asked Yvette Cooper, this, by the way, this is so disingenuous. Listen to this. Apparently she's got more flags than a bunting shop.
We actually have Union Jack bunting on our garden shed at the moment. I've got St George's flags, I've got St George's bunting, I've got the Yorkshire Rose bunting as well. I've got Union Jack flags and tablecloths. We've got the lot. I've even actually got some Yorkshire tea bunting, which is probably taking things a bit far.
The next thing we'll hear is she's got Union Jack pants on or something, really. Just look at Benedict's face. Absolutely. Look at him. Shocked.
I mean, if you're going to lie, at least try and make it plausible. You know, I mean, just that's the thing. It's just, you know, this whole flag thing where, you know, nobody has this amount of flags or bunting around their house. Not even the most patriotic people.
Even if we were in the World Cup final, I wouldn't have that much bunting.
Exactly. The response would be, well, I think I've got an England shirt somewhere that probably doesn't fit me. You know, and people would have then gone, oh yeah, no, that's fair enough. But this idea that we've gone from flags a bag to I own literally all of the flags. There is a flag shortage cottage because I'm so patriotic. Yes. Everybody's just sat there going, for the love of God, this is just... I mean, for a start, it shows that they don't understand what the flag protests are about. It's not about owning a flag, you half-wits. It's about the symbolism that comes with that. But that's the point. Nobody believes that the party, which still has Emily Thornberry in it, she of the ultra-snobbery about people flying flags, nobody actually believes that they own a single thing that demonstrates some sort of bold patriotism. Absolutely not. And if they do, it's because they've sent some little aide out in the last 24 hours to go, for the love of God, find me some bunting.
Honestly, I love talking to you. So we've taken we've talked about Keir Starmer, we've talked about Yvette Cooper. Oh, God, I'm going to do his interview as well. This is Keir Starmer on flags. This is another BBC interview. He won't come on here either. This is him pretending that he's flag mad. Have a listen to this.
I'm the leader of the Labour Party who puts the Union Jack on our Labour Party membership cards. I always sit in front of a Union Jack. I've been doing it for years and it attracted a lot of comment when I started doing it. And in our flat, which is upstairs from here, as you know, we've got the St George's flag in our flat.
So you're encouraging people to put up more flags?
I'm very encouraging of flags. I think they're patriotic. And I think they're a great symbol of our nation. I don't think they should be devalued, belittled, and I think sometimes when they're used purely for divisive purposes, it actually devalues the flag. I don't want to see that. I'm proud of our flag. I sit in front of our flag, and I'm very, very proud to do so.
No, you don't. You've got bits of wood in your bum because you sit on the fence. Honestly, I know you're smiling like me. It's so fake, isn't it?
Yeah, for him to sit there and go, I don't like it when it's used for this because it devalues the flag. Having a second ago just devalued the flag by pretending that he's got it hanging up in his flat. I mean, look, it's like you're going into a pawnbroker in this country and you say to them, look, you know, the government of the pawnbroker, and you say, well, things are desperate. I've fallen on hard times. I'd quite like it if you could give me some viable policy, if you could give me something, you know, short-term to just improve things. And the pawnbroker sits there and goes, best I can do is just wave a flag. That's your political, you know, that's the offer that I'm going to make to you. And you just sort of sat there and go, wow. That it's come to this now, that you've got a Labour Prime Minister who doesn't fulfil any of his promises, is able to grow the black hole in the budget that wasn't there at the start. And all he can do is sit there and go, well, look how patriotic I am. I have a flag. It's somewhere else, but trust me, I have it. And that's what should matter, is that I own a flag and I'm very patriotic, and pay no attention to the impending bond crisis or the migrant crisis or the crisis in, well, in fact, pick any of the areas of this country. Healthcare, education, energy. Don't pay attention to those because I'm going to pretend that I own a Union Jack. And we're all just supposed to go, yeah, this is the reset.
But I think the interesting point, on a serious note, mate, before we move on to something else, is actually it smacks to me of a massive moment in politics, because I think for too many years, and I'm not blaming the British people, we swallowed that. We swallowed a line. We you know, a line that's been prepared by a focus group. We swallowed it. But the British people, I said it to you the other day, and I'll say it again. I got this amazing text from somebody that said, when the silent majority finally realised that their voice is being heard, the government of the day, whatever colour they are in trouble. I think that people no longer... I think there's a degree of realism, cynicism, whatever you want to call it. People will watch that and go, you're talking rubbish, mate. They never would have done. They're looking in far more detail stuff. So we've talked about Starmer, we've talked about Raina, we've talked about Cooper. Mate, I've got you the best thing in the world. Did you see the reshuffle yesterday when Darren Jones became Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister, a man who, on Question Time, said that all the people that come in boats are girls and boys and women and children. Did you see that as him sort of sidelining Rachel Reeves? Many people agree with that. Matthew Torbid earlier said this is a way for her to infiltrate Number 10. Just very quickly, which way did you see that reshuffle?
She's been sidelined. I mean, his promotion and the promotions of Torsten Bell previously, this is about succession planning, because she is going to be thrown under the bus when the economic crisis continues to worsen. She's actually, I almost feel sorry for her, in that she is going to be used as the human sacrifice for something that is much broader than just her. She is useless, but she's not the only useless one.
And so that liar who lied about children is don't play it yet. That that man who lied about the boats has been spared the humiliation, and that's what's going to happen. I'm going to play this now because this is brilliant. So obviously you and I think she's been sidelined. So what they said to her yesterday was, we need you to try and be real, OK? I want you to go out and I want you to meet people on your wavelength. You're the Chancellor of the Exchequer, OK? Go and speak to some people in the city. You weren't able to... Who did you... have a watch?
I've been hearing about you in the news that you like taxes. If you had 3 wishes, what would it be?
Oh my goodness. To answer your questions well, to make sure that all children have a good start in life, and for my own children to give me less chat back. I don't think that third one's going to come true.
If you could have another job, what would that be?
Oh, well, what I'd really like to be is Beyonce, but I don't think I'm ever going to be Beyonce. So before I became an MP, I worked in finance. I worked in banks and financial institutions. So I guess that's what I would go back to doing. But at the moment, I'm doing the job that I want more than any other job. I'm in charge of the country's finances. All right? Yeah, you happy with my answers? I get a high five. Hey, very good.
I don't know what to say, Benedict.
It's just so disingenuous and dull as much as anything else.
Can we just strip this back? Rachel Reeves, Richard III. Rachel as Beyonce.
I know. Again, it's one of those things where you just kind of think, for the love of God, at least try, if you're going to give sort of slightly light-hearted answers, try and get creative. Oh, if you could have 3 wishes, what would it be? Oh, I just need 1. I want to move to the Bahamas. Get me out of here. You know, Boris Johnson would have answered these sorts of questions with, you know, a real sort of light-hearted...
Got Brexit done. Let's get breakfast done. There we go.
Yes, he wouldn't have had these prepared answers. He would have done it off the cuff. Yeah. It would have been human. It would have been amusing. Whatever you think of Boris Johnson, that's ultimately why people connected with him, because he didn't try to do this very forced, very staged thing. He tried to get a laugh. But
that's back to my point, that I think the British public have woken up and they'll see that as disingenuous and they'll see that as unauthentic. The other great thing out of that, she says chat back. I'm totally convinced it's back chat, isn't it? But maybe she can't even speak English as well as add up.
It is meant to be back chat, I believe. But who knows, maybe in whatever part of the country she's from, there's some slang that says it is chat back. I don't know. I don't want to sound as if I'm uneducated about the language of our superior betters. They are the elite educated after all. So perhaps we're wrong to cast aspersions. But yeah, no, I did hear that and think, well, that's not promising, is it?
That's not English. Final story for you this morning. Quite interesting. Farage took aim yesterday. He's a bit hacked off. He hasn't been invited to the state dinner because he says his friend Donald Trump, they've been friends for over a decade. He's quite hacked off that he's written to Keir Starmer saying I should be able to put things in Lords in the House of Lords because I'm the leader of a party. He hasn't even had a reply. So yesterday he said about the banquet, they wouldn't invite me. Hey, we're only 15 points ahead of the polls. I've only known Trump personally as a friend for more than a decade, but that shows your attitude to this bloody Labour government. They're insulting. They talk down to me. They don't invite me to that. I wrote to him about members of the House of Lords. I haven't even got a reply. Here's the interesting bit. And I'd like to remind Sir Keir Starmer, I got rid of David Cameron, I got rid of Theresa May, and if you go on being rude to me, mate, I'll get rid of you. Strong words from Nigel Farage yesterday.
I think Farage... I mean, this is fine for Farage because he can paint himself as the victim and Labour as the snobs. But ultimately, I think he probably doesn't care because I suspect he knows that his friend Donald Trump will give him a photo op, and frankly, a much better photo op at some point.
Don't you think he'll make sure he gets invited? I think Donald Trump will kick off.
It might be that, or it might be that he invites him to the White House or Mar-a-Lago or something like that. Look, Donald Trump repays his friends, those who are loyal to him, and Farage has been one for a very long time. I've got no concerns at all that, A, him not being invited to this banquet will not dent Farage's polling one bit. If anything, it'll probably make it go up. And Donald Trump will probably throw him a solid at some point. So I don't think Farage is actually that upset about this. If anything, as you say, he might get invited anyway, but if anything, it just gives him another opportunity to stick the knife in.
Final story today, and I'd just like you to be a bit sympathetic, please, on Keir Starmer's 63rd birthday. Sri Lankan mother has won a reprieve in her battle to be deported back to Sri Lanka because she's too depressed to fly. Don't laugh, Benedict. It's a mental health situation here. Could you be respectful, please? The poor woman supports the Tamil Tigers. She says that if she's forced to go back, it will be very... Stop laughing, Benedict. She's got depression and anxiety, and she is going to go on a visit in a couple of weeks, fly there and fly back. But to go back and live there is too depressing a thought. Your thoughts on this Tuesday morning, Benedict Spencer?
To be honest, I'd be depressed if I was going to be deported because I supported a prescribed terrorist group. I think that's a rather silly thing to have done. But I think, honestly, the fact that we have this drip feeding of stories, and it's almost every day that we have a story of an example of somebody not being able to be deported because of some very silly reason. There was the example, wasn't there, the other day of the Pakistani gentleman who had broken the law several times and was going to be deported, but he can't be deported to Pakistan because he is an alcoholic and alcohol is banned in Pakistan. And you were sat there going, oh, for heaven's sake, really?
I genuinely mean this to the Morning Glory viewers and listeners. I apologise. Benedict knows this story. On Drive Time about 4 months ago, we did the story of a man who won the right to stay in the United Kingdom. Mike Graham still cries about this story, right? Because if he'd gone back to Iran under Sharia law, his business would not have been allowed to operate, and thus he won the reprieve by saying, and I quote, "My family will be finished." And his business was selling sex toys. And he's allowed to stay. Honestly, mate, I give up. But listen, before you do the walk of shame after your night of passion, Spency, old boy, good to see you. Good to have you on. Always good to have you on. And we'll see you on To The Side next week with your hair a slightly better slick back. Is that all right?
That's fine, Jeremy. I thank you for your compassion and your sympathy for me at this difficult time.
At this difficult time in this early hour. The Lord Benedict Spence of Spencedom there. Conservative commentator, live and exclusive on Morning Glory. What is it, 9:24? You can get your calls on 0344 499 1000. I've got loads of text to do. We'll go to the break with a voice note. Tis fed up, or this says Tis is fed up. I read it as Tis fed up. Anyway, here's the voice note.
Morning, Jeremy. It's Tiz from West Berkshire here. I want to express how I'm feeling about this government at the moment and everything that's mentioned on talkTV. To be honest with you, no, I think this government is totally spineless. They haven't got the gumption or the willingness to even address or want to address the issues, even though they basically put their head in the sand and thinking it's going to go away. They're not taking any notice. Loving the show, Jeremy.
And we know that, of course, while we've been speaking about small boats, one of the biggest issues is going to come up time and time again is the economy. We've got a budget which we still don't have a date for because the government Treasury still hasn't submitted its numbers to the OBR for them to go over exactly what the public finances, what's going on with the public finances. But we're looking at a budget late November as things currently stand, and it is going to be another really painful budget.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Oh, welcome back. 9:28. Morning Glory till 10. The excellent Julia Hartley-Brewer is here from 10 o'clock. The Housewife's Choice, Ian Collins, is here from 1 o'clock. And Peter Cardwell on Drive this afternoon from 4 is on. And then he'll come on and he'll tell you. And I'm here on Saturday and Sunday, and next February I'm on a Thursday. But he's on Drive, doing a great job. Morning, Jez, you're doing a great job. When I weren't army, we had a staff sergeant in the motor transport section called Brian Carr. Of course, he was officially addressed as Staff Carr. That's absolutely brilliant. Neil in North Yorkshire. If you're tuning in and you're wondering what the hell's going on, I'll tell you what it is. During the first news at 7 o'clock, I got an email from my insurance company asking, saying, do you want to renew the household and contents insurance from a Miss Safe, which led to all sorts of fallout. Christian came in and told us about his music teacher called Mr. G Sharp. We've had some amazing people. There's a plumber in Watford called Steve Flood, says Chris. That's brilliant. Paul's in Belfast. Achoo. When I was in the army, one of my private soldiers serving under me had an unusual name. He was called Parts. Parts? So what would he be? He'd be Private Part. Oh, Private Parts! Sorry, you see, I've done it. I didn't realise. There we go. Phil's from Hearts. Hello, Phil. Jeremy, regarding the state banquet and... Oh, did you see me do that with my arm? That was embarrassing. Regarding the state banquet and Nigel not being invited, I just hope that Donald Trump asks Starmer publicly where Nigel is. I agree. Daniel's from Milton Keynes. Starmer's birthday. Yeah, do us a favour and retire. Rob Letchford. Should we club together for a birthday cake for Starmer? How many tiers do you think it would have? 2? Very good. Dan in Leek in Staffordshire. Yeah. Nigel Farage isn't invited to the state dinner as he would look like the Deputy Prime Minister sitting next to Nigel, laughing and joking with Donald Trump like old friends. Completely agree. Linda Whittingham. Morning, Jez. Starmer having flags all over the place, probably for Trump's benefit. Oh, yes, she's the one whose birthday it is. This is brilliant. Nan in Wales. Not my Nan, she's dead. My son works with a guy whose name genuinely is Tom Bowler. How good is that? And hello to Leslie. Starmer on about the flag. Remember, he removed his poppy to address his core voters. That is not a patriotic man. Couldn't agree more. 9:30, we're live across the UK. Julia from 10, as I said. Where are we going now? Oh, yes, brilliant. Public policy specialist. Very important. Lucy White, good morning. Welcome to Morning Glory.
Hi, good morning, Jeremy.
How lovely to have you on. I'm slightly concerned. Am I allowed to call you Lucy White, or will I be told I've upset people because of your name? But it's lovely to have you on the show. Thank you for tuning in. What are we talking about? I'm having a morning where everything's going all over the place. We're talking about this. What are we talking about? One in, one out, the fiasco?
Yeah, we're just going to be speaking about Yvette Cooper's speech yesterday. As we know, Parliament returned from summer recess, and Yvette Cooper gave us all a scare yesterday. She thought it was, Halloween, clearly, but it's not Halloween yet. It was only the 1st of September. So Yvette Cooper, as we know, they already made this one in, one out, or one in, no out deal with President Macron earlier in the summer. But what Yvette Cooper said yesterday was, on one hand, positive that the UK government will be temporarily suspending new applications under the refugee family reunion route, which is good because previously refugees could just bring in their families, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, the granddads, who didn't actually need to speak English and who didn't have to prove that they could even support themselves in the country, i.e. let's bring everyone in and the British taxpayer can pay for everyone. But one thing that did alarm me, Jeremy, is that Yvette Cooper has decided that Gazan students can come and study in the UK.
What concerned me is, and I'll be very, very honest, I talked about this with Christian, I don't like what's going on in the Middle East. I don't like what I see. I'm not getting embroiled in that because you can't win either way. I'll let people have their opinions. Let me talk about this woman that you're talking about, Yvette Cooper, or Mrs. Bulls, as I call her. You're right. There was obviously some diktat yesterday morning, which was right. We're going to hit the ground running. We'll reset because number 1 didn't work, so we're going to do that. I want you straight in the Commons. I want you talking about immigration. Nigel Farage has stolen my ground. He stood in front of that bloody big flag, the police should have taken it down. We need to get the ground back. And then tomorrow the diktat is, I want you all out on the airwaves saying, we've got so many flags, we're drowning under union flags. But let's go back to yesterday. She stood there and she gave an update because we'd heard nothing from her since August the 8th when she said there would be regular updates. She talked about, not allowing families, the Gazan students. She talked about everything but one thing. She did not mention in any way the 50,000 people that have come into this country whilst Labour has been in power, and more than that, what she didn't, and I salute the Daily Mail, which is quite rare, she didn't mention that since that policy with Emmanuel Macron was announced, 3,000, front of the Daily Mail, 3,567 have come in and absolutely zero have been sent home. So yet again, Lucy, from my point of view, be interested in your take, you're saying to the British people, well, you're insulting them, really, aren't you? You think with a few sound bites and very little detail that we're going to swallow it. Well, I'm here to tell them, and I'll say it for as long as I'm sat here, I don't believe the British people will accept this anymore. I think they're far more switched on. I think there's a huge number of people, an increasing number of people in this country who go, you know what, I've always lived my life correctly. I've paid my stamp, my taxes, I've never asked for a handout, and I'm 28th in the queue, and enough is a bleed enough, because you are wiping the backside of people who don't deserve it under the auspices of some crazy, they're suffering persecution. No, they don't like a tent in France, and I'm missing out. And I think that is the point, genuinely, Lucy, that we're at as a country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are not, in my opinion, they are not genuine asylum seekers because they are coming from France. So they are already in a safe country.
Yes.
Then to then cross the channel, it just clearly shows that they are here for our benefits, for the hotel.
And if they were legal, they'd have a passport and come legally. I mean, you've got the new number 2 almost to Starmer, is the guy, Darren Jones, that went on Question Time and said all the people that come in boats are women and children. No, they're not, you idiots, you're lying. The truth of the matter is, and listen, I don't know you very well. I've spoken to you a couple of times, but if we were together and we had children, right, and we were in a country being bombed, would I go, Luce, come with me quick? Or would I go, no, I'll tell you what, you stay amongst the bombs with the kids. I'm going to go to Britain, get an underground job, probably cleaning a car or something, and I'll send you some money back. In the meantime, if you get bombed to death, I'm really sorry. What a load of rubbish. You take your wife and kids, and you just said it, the minute you got to a country where there weren't bombs raining on your head, you'd go, phew. The reason everybody comes here is because the pull is greater and we are as soft as anything. But that, seemingly to me, has been escapable for a few years, but it's no longer escapable because the British public are beginning to miss out. Whatever the left tell you, the British public, in terms of public services, which are further stretched because of migration, are missing out. And that's where the problem lies for this government and any government, because the Tories didn't sort it out either.
Yeah, correct. And I think the other thing to think about of what Yvette Cooper said yesterday, she said that they will find managed ways for refugees to start working in the UK, which is also an insult for all those people that apply through work visas, through the legal route to come to the UK. So these illegal migrants, they're skipping the queue, they're not paying for their visas, and now there's a possibility for them even to start working in our country. Absolutely. I mean, the Liberals would argue, but at least that way they can start supporting themselves. But the point is they are here illegally and they shouldn't be here in the first place. And we've seen all these, these gimmick policies of one in, one out, or, smash the gangs. But the only thing that will work is if they are detained upon arrival, they are held there, and then they are deported. That is the only policy.
You'll think I'm outrageous. I wouldn't let them set foot in the United Kingdom. I've said it before, and people laugh at me. I would recondition the biggest liner. I would get the Navy at the 12-mile thing, and I would put them on board where there would be a crack team that would have been trained within an inch of their life to process them within 24 hours. And if you are a genuine refugee, 1,000,000% you're coming into my country because I want to help people who can't help themselves. But if you're taking the Michael, which millions are, you are going to be sent to a detention centre, not a hotel, probably in the Orkney Islands, not being disrespectful to the Orkney Islands, where you will learn very quickly that we're not going to wipe your backside. And I believe that way the message will get through to people in other countries. We are not a soft touch. We've been a soft touch for a long time. But now, with the problems that are happening in this country, which are being exacerbated by that, I think the people have woken up. That's all I think, Lucy.
Absolutely. And we've seen these protests across the country because, as you say, the British people, we are very tolerant and we are very kind and generous. So people pay their taxes, they go to work. They pay into the system, which is being abused. And that's why we've seen this eruption of protests, because people have just had enough of, we have homeless British people on the streets, and yet we have illegal migrants being housed in hotels. And we just know that people are people feel that they're being taken the mickey out of, that their taxes are not being well spent. And what was bad of Yvette Cooper is she had the audacity to overturn the High Court ruling in Epping that said, it was originally that the illegal migrants had to leave the Bell Hotel by the 12th of September, and they had the audacity to overturn that and then come into Parliament yesterday and say that they are a country against illegal migration and for the British people. Well, we absolutely know.
But you have a government that I believe is so lacking in direction and foresight almost that they're hamstrung to even make a sentence without it going in front of a focus group. And I've said it all morning, and I've said it for as long as I've been on this station. The government we have today is not a proactive government, it's a reactive government. Whether you agree with Nigel Farage or not, whilst they're all on holiday, he's standing in a hangar in Oxford in front of the biggest flag ever in the history of the United Kingdom and saying, I'm sorry, the time has come for deportations. Cue the lefties to go mad, but millions of people in this country are saying, do you know what? Sorry, I am proud of my flag. I have worked my bits off, I've paid my taxes, and I don't think it's right that I can't see a doctor, I can't go to a dentist. My mother, who's waiting for a hip operation, has to wait when these people are getting stuff that we don't get. We opened our homes to Ukrainians. We did right by people who have suffered. You are never going to convince the majority of British people that if you are in a tent on a French beach, that you're escaping persecution. I completely agree with you, Lucy. I'm sorry, by the way, for the analogy if we were together and having children living in a war-torn country. Obviously, I've got enough children, but I know what I was trying to do there.
Absolutely. And just one more point on Gaza. What I think is important to understand is that the neighbouring countries, such as Egypt and Lebanon, for example, so take Egypt. Egypt has always been clear on its policy that it will not take Gazan refugees because it will create national instability. And yet we, the United Kingdom, will be taking in Gaza students and probably their closest family members on scholarships which are fully funded either by the FCDO, so by our Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, which again is taxpayers' money, or the University of Oxford, for example, has its own scholarship scheme for Gazan refugees. But the problem here is we know there have been polls from last year that show 37% of Gazans support Hamas. And if you bring those into the United Kingdom, you're just going to be creating more instability. So ever since October the 7th in 2023, there has been a lot of instability around this. And by bringing those Gazans in, we're just going to see even more instability in our country.
Could not agree more. And actually, I think that issue highlights one of the biggest concerns that you saw in Epping and you see in any policy research or polls or whatever. If you allow unvetted men, minus their partners and kids, to come into this country without documented evidence about who they are or what they're going, it is a recipe for disaster. Lucy White, even I said wife, you see, it's gone to my mind now. Public policy specialist, thank you so much indeed for coming on Talk Breakfast Morning Glory 20 to 10. Julia here from 10 o'clock. You've heard the story earlier about the Sri Lankan. I feel very sorry for this woman, the Sri Lankan asylum seeker. She can't go home to Sri Lanka with her 5 kids because she's depressed. Amber's not happy about that though.
Hi Jezza, it's Amber from Manchester. Like, oh my goodness, is this woman, completely bonkers? Like, to depressed to fly home just shows another absolute reason why we need to completely sort out this uncontrolled immigration into this UK country, because we are a tiny island nation. We can't exactly take on the whole world. We need to sort out our own problems first before trying to sort out the world. And this woman just needs to get off a butt and get home. About too depressed. I'm too depressed to do stuff every day, but I still have to.
I quite agree, Amber. Amber's frustrated. Are you frustrated? I'm making the boys laugh. 0344 499 1000. Jezza, was that Rachel Reeves' video produced by Meghan Markle? Because it looks and sounds utterly crap. Possibly. Brian F. up north. Whereabouts up north? Betty. Ooh, Betty. Nigel Farage will rock up in Air Force One with Trump to greet Starmer and Millipede at the airport. That'd be absolutely brilliant. I can't do his impression. Brilliant. I wonder if Starmer's going to get a call from Trump to explain why he's not invited Farage to Trump's state dinner. Do you know what? I think Benedict Spence is spot on. I think this rhetoric completely suits Farage. Andy's in Woolwich. I had a teacher at school called Mr. R. Stitch. Mr. R. Stitch. OK. Adrian's in Woking. I know an American harpist called Chandelier. What? Honest to God, I can't be doing with it. Derek, in the 90s, the man in charge of West Midlands Police Underwater Search Unit, oh my God, was Inspector Dolphin. I can't even bring myself. That can't be true. The man in charge of West Midlands Police Underwater Search Unit, it's a serious job. Good morning, my name's Inspector Dolphin. We're going to carry out a series of dives this morning. What would you like for lunch? I'll have a tuna fish. It's just a joke, OK? Andy's in Darlington. Hi, Jez. Talking about Starmer, Labour relationship with flags, all I see is red flags. Labour, no. Great show. Good. Steve's in Porthcawl, is it? You know, Ed Dave is not going to trump his nosh up. Does that mean free up a space for Nigel, is it? I don't know. Whose coat is that at in the middle of the dance floor? This is Morning Glory, is it?
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
9:45. Why am I doing that? I'm getting with it. Loving it. Thank you very much, Steve, for tuning into Morning Glory. If you didn't, where have you been? And if you have, I'm sorry, it's been mediocre compared to the main man, who will be back on Thursday. Julia Hartley-Brewer here from 10 o'clock this morning. Ian Collins, the Silver Fox, from 1 o'clock. 0344 499 1000. Get more texting, get more calls in. Don't forget, by the way, one more plug. Mike and me are doing the World of Common Sense Saturday, 15th of November at the Shepherd's Bush Empire. Just a few tickets left now. You can get them ticketmaster.com or online. No, that would be online. Or on the app. I don't know how you do that. Anyway, Ticketmaster, World of Common Sense, Saturday, November the 15th. And tomorrow on Breakfast, I'll tell you who the two main guests are. One will blow your mind. I genuinely mean that. Genuinely. We've got... Yeah, and I'm not going to give it away, because if I give it away, then I'll get into trouble. Let me give you a clue. ostrich. 0344. Did you see what I've done there at all? Christian, ostrich, is that a clue? Christian knows me because Christian is the man. 0344 499 1000. We're delighted to know. You know this situation in Birmingham, Mike, where I started my career? They've had an absolute nightmare with rubbish. 11 months this disaster has been continuing. The council, though, now clearing the mess. The bin workers, I don't know what the situation was. We say a very good morning to Conservative Councillor Marion Jenkins, Shadow Cabinet Member for Finance. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Jeremy. And when I was last on this show with Mike, you call the main man, was the 2nd of May.
Yes.
And the news this morning is that there is absolutely no news. The Labour Council...
4 months later. Exactly 4 months, nothing.
4 months, they've done nothing. I think they've taken the summer off, except, of course, if someone has the audacity to raise a Union Jack, in which case, all of a sudden, there seems to be plenty of councils.
No. I think now, listen, Marion. I'm going to do this because I want you to understand. Whilst I appreciate the fact there are bin wars going on, and whilst I understand that there are rats the size of tigers, and it's a complete disaster, you mustn't disrespect this government, because you say that if you fly a flag, you're going to be arrested. This is the Home Secretary this morning on BBC Breakfast, quizzed about whether she thinks British people should be able to fly flags. This will blow your mind, Marion. Have a watch.
We actually have Union Jack bunting on our garden shed at the moment. I've got St George's flags, I've got St George's bunting, I've got the Yorkshire Rose bunting as well. I've got Union Jack flags and tablecloths. We've got the lot. I've even actually got some Yorkshire tea bunting, which is probably taking things a bit far.
Marion, you're a Conservative councillor in Birmingham. What do you make? That is the most ludicrous, disingenuous video I've ever seen. She should be arrested instantly, shouldn't she? The health and safety nightmare of her garden.
Jimmy, it's absolute nonsense. As soon as people started raising Union Jacks in Birmingham, a council that hasn't got the resource to clear the rubbish or deal with the rat infestation, suddenly resource appeared to remove the Union Jacks. And yet flags of other denominations have been around for 12 months plus, in one case 18 months, and we were told there wasn't the resource to remove them. I would treat what as Cooper said there, with a real pinch of salt, I think.
In terms of Birmingham, as that bin strike rumbles on and the people of Birmingham suffer, what's your belief? I mean, no news in 4 months. How does it end? How does this thing ever finish?
Right. Well. I mean, we've said a number of things. In the short term, we have to take action to stop the rise in the rat population. I mean, rats breed at a prolific rate. I mean, you know, a female rat can have 12 pregnancies in a year and produce 6 to 12 rats.
More kids than I've got.
They have to take action to deal with that. They have to remove the charges that are placed on people by the council to deal with pests and pest control. In the longer term, to solve this, we have to put a deadline on the offers that have been made to the bin workers, and we have to then introduce a whole new model of working, so that we can not only bring an end to this strike, but have a situation where prevent a situation like this arising again in the future.
It's an embarrassment to the second city, isn't it? I mean, I spent 5 years of my life working there. It's supposed to be Britain's second city, 100 miles from London. It's a disgrace and rather symptomatic if you had some sort of overview. I spoke to Harry Cole in America the other day in DC, and he was saying that, we've got a globalist government who think they're doing the right thing in terms of human rights ideology, and yet with a laughing stock about what's happening in Birmingham, what's happening with free speech, what's happening with our borders. It's not a good time, is it?
No, I mean, as you said, the strike has been going on for nearly a year.
Yeah.
And it has just become the norm in terms of life in Birmingham, that large amounts of our rubbish don't get collected, and that we kind of accept it. And residents in some parts of the city just leave their rubbish out on the streets. In other parts of the city, they take it to the tip and they deal with it. But it's become a way of life that we don't have the waste collection service that we are paying this Labour Council to deliver.
Really good to have you on, Marion, and I like a good old Brummie name, Marion.
It's Welsh. And
I know that. I mean, my Welsh accent is rubbish. What?
your Welsh accent was rubbish, and I was going to say that since you brought it up.
All right, mate, but my Birmingham woman's all right. All right. Love having you on, Marion. Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Marion Jenkins, Shadow Cabinet Member for Finance, Birmingham City Council. The bin wars continue. Listen, you've got 9 minutes to get your call in ahead of Julia. She'll come and tell us what's on the show as well before 10 o'clock. 0344 499 1000. We'll go to an ad break. Yvette Cooper's now the biggest buyer of bunting in the entire Western world, and we're not even a World Cup final. Wayne, what do you make of it?
Morning, Jezza. It's Wayne from Erdington in Birmingham. No Brummy impressions, please, you wally. Just went over to the dark side and watched Yvette Cooper. Might as well be Tommy Cooper. Not a clue. Well, at least they had the gumption to stop her husband bloody interviewing her. Farcical, mate.
Breaking news this morning revealed that under the Terrorist Act, 242 people were arrested in the year to June of this year.
That's something you can indulge in as to all the people who aren't going to prison because, well, there's no prison spaces.
So this is a talk exclusive we've been looking at.
I said, you take these cuffs off me and speak to me like a human being rather than a common criminal.
You're just left wondering, does these people who lead us actually hate Britain?
Yeah.
Do they not love our country and everything that we've stood for?
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Now listen, when Mrs Kyle speaks, the nation listens. She said that the Oasis gig that I took her to at Wembley, paid for by a mate who won some tickets or bought some tickets, was the best thing ever. We are offering you yet another chance here at Talk to win more Oasis tickets. This is when they return to Wembley for the final part in the United Kingdom, 27th of September, OK? 27th. There's only a couple of winning tickets. We will give you the chance to win that and £25,000, 25 grand, and your chance for 2 tickets to Oasis, Wembley, 27th of September. For all the details, do you want to know how to win? God, I didn't get asked to do this voice, I'm not surprised. This is brilliant. This is how you can win. Have a watch.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a TalkSport limited promotion run on TalkSport, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Brilliant voice. I could do that. Traffic and travel on Virgin FM. Never mind. Anyway, that's how you win 2 tickets if you want to Oasis and £25,000. Do that right now. 0344 499 1000. Very quickly. Sandy in Edinburgh. Good morning.
Hi, Jez. Just back in the 70s, my dad knew a boy who was a road worker. And this is straight, mate. His name was Phil McCracken.
Yes, we've done that one already. Thank you very much indeed.
Sorry, mate.
No,
sorry,
it's
mate.
lovely to have had you. Thank you so much indeed. Rachel says your Welsh accent was rubbish. Do your Frank Spencer impression instead. I've got a bit of trouble. 3 minutes to 10. Welcome. Sorry, very seriously. No, very seriously. The First Lady of Politics and of Westminster. What's the matter?
Sorry, I'm just arranging my microphone lead.
Are you all right? Do you want me to wait? And do you want to fill?
No, I thought you were going to offer to arrange it for yourself. No,
I wouldn't be so unprofessional. I'm very professional now. I'm on breakfast.
I was enjoying your impression. That's very good.
Of what?
I mean, well, I thought it was the Prime Minister. No, was it Frank Spencer?
It's his birthday. Now, can you
Happy
give respect?
birthday,
Yes.
Keir.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sir Keir.
And also, have you seen the wonderful video of Yvette
I
Cooper
have.
about the flags? She's got more bunting than we had on the Silver Jubilee,
I love they've
mate.
all discovered the flag. But Clive Lewis, Labour MP, I mean, he's right on the left.
The Norwich one, the lefty.
Proper lefty, saying that, a lot of these people waving the flag are extremists. There's no other country where people think this about people waving their flag.
Why are we? My thing fell out. You see, you've ruined everything. It's going really
all
well.
my fault. It's all my fault.
Why are we not able to be proud? Why do we fall
most
for
people,
rubbish?
It's not we. It's the bloody establishment classes that think that. It's not us. It's most of us are perfectly proud of our country and our history and our culture and our flag and our
You've been doing this
and...
far longer than me. You and Mike have
All
been
right,
banging
posh.
this drum. No, but it's true, and it strikes me that millions of people in this country are now coming around. What you got on the show today?
Well, we're going to be talking about this 1 in 1 out deal. Not going so well so far.
You mean the 3,567 in?
0 out.
Yeah,
Not quite as good. We're going to talk about phase 2. Prime Minister's...
Because phase 10 was crap.
Did you know we were in phase 1 until yesterday? I didn't know that.
No, and I didn't know we were in phase 2 until the diktat went out that I want every Labour MP out there today saying, I've got a flag.
Yeah, we're in phase 2. We're going to be talking about all of that. We're going to be talking about what is going on with the budget.
Yeah.
Rachel Reeves and also that Gaza footage with little Greta. It had to turn back, but now it's gone again. We're going to talk to my old friend Yvonne Ridley, who is so wrong about this topic, about what they're going to be doing in Gaza. And